What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Pass the Barb. Today is Wednesday, November 6th. Little bit of a change up, a little bit of a bonus episode for everybody because we are the number one outdoor podcast in the world. We do this for the people. I am your host, Adam Bartusek. I'm joined by all my good friends, but we'll go around the horn here. Mr. Sam Sobi.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, repeating what Adam said, thank you. Thank you so much for continuing to put us up to the top of the charts to be the number one outdoor podcast in the world. If you have not yet subscribed, if you're not yet told your grandmother, your friend, your brother, your mother, tell them to listen. This is good quality content. We're bringing to you as much as we can, and we got fire guests too, and we got a great one tonight. So down to Cody Hahner.
How's everybody doing? Hopefully we've had a restful break from us and you are ready for some more. Tonight we got a pretty exciting episode with a guest you are all going to be very familiar of. And it's going to be an awesome shoot, but looking forward to it. Good to see you guys back. We got a hell of a crew here tonight. A lot of talkers, excited for it.
Hahner, I'm excited for you for this interview because you are so out of your element with Buddy Jaron here last week.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Social media and TikTok.
And I'm like, both Will and I are like,
Hunter's like, yeah, for sure. DMs, I get it.
Yeah.
That's my first reel that hit 1 million, and that was in like June. Like it was a few months ago, and the whole time you're like, God, I've been trying to do anything in my fishing career for the last 3 years. And this kid just was like, "Hey, I'm Buddy Jaron," and farted every once in a while, and boom, he's huge.
I'm like, well, I don't know what you're talking about, but continue.
So no, Hahner will be good for this one. This one will be a lot of fun tonight with Ben Milliken. And lastly, he's back. We actually sent, and I texted his girlfriend, and I was like, "Have you heard from Ryan?" Because DeMarkey texted me and was like, normally I've heard from Ryan, and I haven't heard from Ryan.
He's been on location. We sent him out there.
And I'm like,
you're
actually telling the truth. Like,
I was out there weathering the storm, you know?
Yeah. I'm like, is he alive? She's like, yeah, I got a Garmin message. I'm like, okay, he's alive. But he's back from the mountain.
I've been keeping the Garmin inReach circle pretty small these days, you know, trying to save on messages, but yeah, back to reality, at least for a little while. But yeah, just got back from Colorado. It was a super fun trip. I think we'll talk about that at a later time, but it was sweet when I was out there on an elk hunt with a handful of other people, and super fun time as usual. And then, we got all kinds more hunting coming, so I'm looking forward to that, but good to be back on. Felt wrong missing one. I'm not going to lie to you boys.
But you were on location, son. You're on location.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even know who you guys had on, honestly. I was like, I saw the episode drop, and I was like, God damn.
Whoa. You drove from Colorado back to Minnesota. You didn't hit the pod once? Or
Not one time. Not one time. Nope. Kept that just straight bangs only. Get home. You know. Pulled the night shift. And wow. I will tell you though, driving through Iowa during the rut at sunrise.
Oh man.
Damn. Just leave your cooler open, dude. They'll just jump right in there.
I couldn't even imagine. Yeah. So for anybody who's here for, hunting talk and everything, we have a bunch of listeners of this podcast that love the hunting talk. So just want to touch on this. We have our episode with Ben Milliken tonight. We're going to do a little bit of a bonus. We kind of talked about this beforehand. We wanted to have him on last week. It didn't line up. So we're just chilling with him tonight. And I think next Monday, since this weekend is Minnesota Rifle Opener, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is Saturday.
Yeah. So since this weekend is that, by next week, we will record another podcast, and it will be hunting. You will not hear the word
special edition.
You will not hear the word fish or elite series or live scope.
That'll be part of the swear jar, and we will be having a pizza party at the end of the year if we mention any of those names on the special edition.
That could be good. But yeah, so we'll have a hunting special edition next week for everybody. Pretty pumped about that. And anyway, Sobi, what have you been up to since? We recorded about a little over a week ago now. Kind of what have you been up to tidying things up around home?
I've kind of like, Exactly that. Tidying things up. Been doing still a lot of hunting. Been having some close interactions. Actually, just the other day, Mama Steph, she was out in the stand, and she's in a stand that like I actually didn't think was like kind of really
Any
good,
good?
at all. Yeah, like, but like it was she had been going like I'll set up these
It's a shit
semi
spot.
A nice place
Yeah,
to
right.
start.
And it's not because I put her there. I wasn't like go there. She wanted to go there. So we got a couple stands set up, like more gun stands for like when my dad comes out here, because he's like, old man, like he needs a ladder stand. And then I got these semi-janky bow stands set up, and they're half sketch. And Mama will crawl up in there, and she's just a gorilla up there. And then she'll get sick of that after like, maybe a Friday night and a Saturday morning hunt. And she's like, I just need to go in a ladder stand. She goes in a ladder stand in a spot that I was like, that's not really like, but if you want to go sit there, it's cool. This is before daylight savings. I think sunset was 6 o'clock. Last light was 6:30. She doesn't see anything all night, which is like, I kind of expected that out of the stand. 6:30 happens. It's pretty dark, kind of on the edge of the woods where she's sitting. She's like, no big deal. Hooks her bow up, drops it down to the ground. Her bow touches the ground, and she hears, and she's like, what? And then my phone bings off at 6:33. So this is 3 minutes past shooting light, but she said it came in pretty much immediately after her bow touched the ground at 6:31. Big old 9-point is like 8 yards away from Mama Steph, right there. And it's in the middle of a four-wheeler trail, like not like through the woods, like in the middle
It's just
of
like
the
stuck.
trail that a truck could just drive on. And she's sitting there with her bow on the ground. Not saying she would have shot it after legal light, but I'm saying like
I would have taken it.
8 yards away.
I mean, harvest.
So she sat there and she watches this thing sit there. It hits a scrape, and then it slowly puts its nose down and just gets out of there really quick. And I'm sitting like in a different part of this property, and I'm like, oh my God, Steph is sitting there. And I get back there and talk with her, and she's like, my bow was on the ground. And so, yeah, that was some exciting stuff that's been happening around here. So some close interactions, and maybe the ladder stands are kind of the key. Maybe don't overthink it.
I think I saw two. You dropped off the boat.
Yes, dropped off the boat. So it's truly a flip of the page, which is a sad deal. But at the same token, it's hunting season now, so it's okay.
I did the same thing last week. Last Friday, I dropped off the boat. Both of our boats for sale right now.
Yes, Intune Marine, hit them up.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, that's not shameless for me.
Me neither.
I would like to sell my boat. So if you want a fully rigged out, awesome boat, there's Mike Amis's for sale at Intune as well. But okay, for me, just been catching up on work, tidying things up. I know as Pink knows, like as we get close to Chronicle season, the amount of just busy work that we go through is astronomically dumb. Like there is so much busy work lining up, like merch, rod orders, different house orders, you name it, just so many moving parts. And it seems like they never all happen at the same time. So it makes it super difficult. But I just got back yesterday. Alyssa and I went out to Door County for a little vacation before
awesome.
The ice fishing season hit. So that was pretty fun. It was cloudy and rainy the whole time we were there. Yep. So basically we kind of got ushered around, and I've never drank so much wine in my life.
Nice.
Much wine.
Did you go to the place that had the goats on top on the roof?
Yeah, the goats weren't there anymore though. Out of season.
Did they slaughter them, or what did they do with the goats?
I didn't ask. But the goats were not on the roof.
I feel like every time I've heard someone recommend Door County, they were never like, dude, you should go the first week in November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we were, so the funny thing was we talked to a lot of the people that are out there, like living there. And I was like, so when does stuff normally shut down? And it was about the weekend before, but they said it changes every year. Like sometimes it goes to the middle of November. And they also said since COVID, like there's just a lot more people that live up there full time now. So a lot of stuff is just open all year. But like, for example, it was really weird, Hahner.
Yeah.
We went to Egg Harbor to go do some stuff. There
Mhm.
was not one thing open in Egg Harbor.
I
Really?
believe
Not one. But then you go to Fish Creek, 2 miles away. Fish
yeah.
Creek's good.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
It must alternate years or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
very weird.
Well,
But
they look like photocopied towns of like one to the other. You're like, I think we were just here.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so basically we just hopped around, like I said, drank a bunch of wine, just kind of chilled out and I don't know, had a good time, good relaxing time away and got back home and now we're right back at it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's ice fishing season. So that's what's going on for me. I know you guys got hunting season, but I'm staring down the barrel of ice fishing season.
That's cool. You guys got away though. And it is a cool place. Like in general, like the cool bars and obviously the scenery and stuff. Like Door County's sick.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I would recommend it to anybody that ever had a passion to go there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, super beautiful.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Did you?
And it was also nice to like the one thing being there when it's not peak fall is like, I mean, there was a bunch of stuff open still. We were able to just go in somewhere, sit down, and it wasn't just a complete and utter gong show.
Yeah.
Other than we did go get breakfast at the place with the goats on the roof, AJ Hansen's, on Sunday morning, I think. And yeah, that was still a 45-minute wait. So the tourist trap was, but yeah.
What was the best food you had there? Or do you just drink wine only?
Dude, there's so much wine.
Did you have morning headache?
Better question. What was the best wine you had?
Okay, there was this place, Laudenbach's or something like that. I got 2 bottles to bring home. It was like a red chocolate brandy wine, something like that. It was delicious. Alyssa hated it. But I was like, this is amazing.
So he's like, I bought a case.
Yeah,
I totally picture.
You gotta try it again. You'll like it this time.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely not for her. But I got it because it's like, I don't know, it's got like a little bit of a brandy taste to me, but then at the end, it's just like a little bit of chocolate and it's also blackberry. So I don't know. It was super good, but that was my favorite one. But yeah, we went around and tried a bunch of them. Like it was nice. We were joking when we were going there. I'm always like, I always want to like get a wine and I never know what to do. So now I went on this vacation to a place that has a bunch of wine and just like dove in head first. And now I feel like I can go somewhere and order myself a wine and not be completely intimidated by it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I like
There
that.
you have it.
Yeah. So it was a good trip. Made it all the way back. Yeah, good 6-hour rip. And I just forget how far it really is up to like Sister Bay past Green Bay.
It is.
When you're driving. Like it's another hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah, once you turn the corner.
And you just keep going. And like Pink said about driving through Iowa during the rut at sunrise, I was driving through Sturgeon Bay in the middle of the night during the rut and had the same experience.
Yeah.
There's giant deer in Door County, by the way. There's hogs in Door County.
Yeah, there was a lot of deer walking around. But yeah, anyways, Hahner, what have you been up to?
Since our last recording, I went up and did some bow hunting on the family land. Yeah, no, it was all right. Not a whole lot of like rutting activity quite yet. Still pretty pre-rut. I know my dad is up there right now, doing some hunting stuff, and he said that the deer are finally moving. Saw a bunch of bucks chasing, crashing really hard. So yeah, I'm excited to get up there again this weekend. But yeah, we had my brother's friend was up there. He shot a nice little 8-pointer.
Nice.
And that same night, my brother saw the biggest one on our land, which is a brute of a 9-pointer.
Like he saw it on the hoof.
Yeah, saw it on the hoof. And like first time, not on just a picture. And I'm like, well, he's like, oh yeah, it's legitimate. So that's pretty fun that's going to be exciting to go after. We have one definite hit lister and then a couple more that are for sure shooters. And I think both my dad and my uncle on that same night that my brother's friend shot that one, my dad hit a tree and my uncle shot an arrow up into the sky because he likes to wear gloves. And we made fun of him for that, like on the pullback shot it, to the moon. So that was pretty hilarious. I'm pretty sure we got a picture of him on a trail camera doing one of these.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah. No, but yeah, deer activity. I saw a couple small bucks, decent amount of does, but nothing crazy happening quite yet in the woods while I was there. So I'm guessing this weekend's going to be kind of it for me.
Yeah.
Dope.
That's so sweet.
But yeah.
It was probably
We all know
peaceful-
Hunter's
peaceful
going to end up
being
shooting
yeah.
a giant one. He's got a horseshoe up
Absolutely.
his ass.
He always
moment
does.
He goes hunting.
Does your brother and your dad freak out a little bit? Like when you go, are they a little bit like,
Oh yeah.
that son of a bitch?
yeah, 100%. They're like, no,
Yeah.
don't sit it. Then they always leave this one stand open because it's the closest to the cabin, and they're like, oh, you guys are a bunch of idiots. This is like the best rut stand, and you will not learn. Like I can
Connor
walk.
walks out there at like 9:30, he's drinking a
Absolutely.
coffee. He's like, oh, shit, that's a
Absolutely.
pretty good
For-
one right here.
Yeah,
For
right,
every
well,
for
sit
everybody
down,
here
yep.
who is new to Pass the Barb and here because of the Ben Milliken experience, Cody Hahner, former FLW Tour pro, worst bass fishing luck in the history of mankind.
Pretty
Could
close.
not be trumped.
Pretty close.
But has the golden horseshoe of bow hunting.
The
Absolutely.
moment he goes
Right.
bow hunting,
Oh, yeah.
he is
Yeah.
Yes,
a god.
I'm a stone cold killer. I mean, it just
He-
happens for me.
and he puts in so much time.
Yeah, he's got
Come
a
on.
wall full of bucks,
Well,
hunted a
listen,
total of 7 days in his life.
It's seven booners, 7 days.
7 booners, 7 days.
Can't be broken.
That could be a documentary.
Yeah, I don't
The Cody
get it.
Hahner experience.
It's not how much you go; it's knowing when to go.
Oh, that's
100%.
yeah. He's like, why are you
Oh,
sitting
man.
out there all day? You
He
need 10
says that-
minutes.
Why are you
Does
there
that
not
just-
sober? Just sit the couple of days you need to sit and shoot it. I don't get it.
Says that to Sobi as he's been sitting in a tree for approximately like 17 days already.
Been living this nightmare with my dad, I feel like my whole life. Like he goes out on gun opener weekend, he's like, oh, fucking nice buck.
Nice buck
Once
shows
again.
up.
Yeah, right underneath me. I just took a piss too. And I'm like, yeah, I know, folks, just like you, and it happens just the same.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Oh shit! That's
All right,
great.
Pink. So I know you were just on your big trip. I'm sure you'll
Yeah.
dive into that way more on this next episode. Did you have anything kind of going on beforehand? You haven't been on in about a month now. Whenever you miss one, it ends up being like a month.
Yeah, it's just how stuff lines up, I guess. But yeah, I did because I don't even know if I've been on since I was out waterfowl hunting or whatever. But
I
yeah,
don't think so.
yeah, so it's just been a lot of hunting stuff, and it's either like getting ready for a trip or unpacking crap from the last one and trying to get stuff put away because they're all like different too. So it's like you don't use none of the same gear. But yeah, I mean everything's going smooth so far, which is great. No knock on wood, major hiccups yet, but we'll see. We got a couple left. Like I said, be hunting in Minnesota this weekend, and oh, you'll like this. So, I think I told you guys I got permission on this place down by Red Wing or whatever that I'm gonna deer hunt this year, right? So I put some trail cameras out there and we're getting a ton of pictures. Super cool. They have some like actually really big bucks down there that are like unreal. Like seriously, like getting these pictures and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
But there's a handful of those deer around. So when I was in Colorado, actually, I didn't get down there. Like I went there and put some stands up in like September or whatever, and haven't really been down there much. But while I was in Colorado, I got those reveal cams, and so like it tells you like everything, like the battery life, the whole thing. So while I was there, I didn't have service, so I wasn't like checking in the stuff. Well, the batteries died on like the 25th, right? And they had just cut all the corn down there, and like the deer activity totally tanked on the cameras because they weren't using the same, trails anymore or whatever, because they can just walk across cornfields and stuff. Well, like I'll say like on the 22nd, 23rd, it really started picking up pretty heavy and they were hitting these scrapes like crazy. And I had all these pictures of these big freaking bucks showing up and everything. And then like 2 days later, all the cameras died. Like, cause I, set all the batteries at the same time or whatever. So now it kind of feels like, like when you're like watching like a tournament and then they like cut off Bass Live, like before the, that's where I'm at now. I'm like, I'm walking this Saturday, just like, bucket. Here we go. See what happens here. But it's been cool. I got a lot of really cool pictures. Actually, the last picture I got on the camera, they were all nighttime pictures. Then this one picture of this huge 8-pointer dog and a doe, and then they died. In the daylight, the last one is a daylight picture of this huge 8-pointer right behind a doe. It was so sick. Yeah, trail cameras are sweet, dude.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. Cameras are sweet.
So, pumped for that, and then I'm going to the weekend after that. I'm gonna be in Montana for 4 days, which I don't even have a tag for. My dad drew a buck tag for over there, so I'm gonna go help him with that. And then I think the rest of the time I'm just gonna be porcupine hunting. So
You love that porcupine.
I
hunting.
do, dude.
Meat is meat, son.
I think
I'm
that was one of
addicted.
our first
Dude.
podcasts, wasn't it?
It was early on. Yeah, I think it was one of the
I think
first.
it might have
times
been one of the first 4 that we like stored and put out when we ended up.
Yeah,
putting
I
them out.
actually I bought a rifle specifically for pork.
No.
Oh
What'd you-
no, we
what?
lost Pink.
Oh,
Oh, he's
shit.
back. You're back
I-
now. You're back.
I was just saying I bought a rifle specifically for porcupine hunting now, so I'm like real dialed in.
What
What
is
is
like,
that? Like a 22-250?
It's a Ruger 1022 that I bought specifically for this. Got it
Oh
all set
man,
up.
I mean, 7mm mag does pretty well in porcupines, I guess, but
It does, but she barks a little bit, you
a
know.
little bit.
She did.
I feel like, is it a wood stock?
It is.
I feel like you need a wood
my
grain,
God.
something in there like the pork gun or the porcupine gun.
So I think I'm just gonna like put a
Make it-
notch in it every time I get one.
No quill.
know,
You have to like
You
put a
quill.
quill
put
on
a
there.
quill in there somewhere.
Mhm.
Like you like glue them on or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's dialed. So yeah, hopefully loading up on some porkies, man. It's fun as hell.
Oh, you gotta come up our way sometime. They are rabid.
Done.
Absolutely rabid.
Yeah,
Really?
I'm there.
Oh my god, it's horrible.
I don't know
Horrible.
if they get big like they do out west though, dude. These things are
Oh, those western ones are,
I'm shooting like 40 pounders.
I believe that. They're like the size of bears.
They are. You see them walking and you're like, my God.
I should shoot that.
Yeah, I should get him. So,
Is
I
it
don't
just
know.
unlimited too?
Yeah, there's no regulate. You can shoot them with whatever you want. There's no limit. There's no nothing. You don't even need a license or anything.
Just
But-
like get rid of these fucking porcupines.
Yeah. So
What-
I
what
got
does
like
the
a
meat look
I got like a those those canvas firewood carriers with the handles. You like put a bunch of logs in it. It's got 2 handles
Yeah,
on top.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I got one of those that I like built. So it's like it goes onto the back of my pack, so you can roll one up and strap it to your pack and hike it out.
Have you ever gotten like, one in the neck or something by doing that?
No,
What? Oh, I thought that would have been
it
my
just
greatest
goes in
fear.
there and then straps on your pack.
Oh, jeez. How have you eaten them before? I can't.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Like, what does it taste like besides by saying porcupine?
Let's see. So it's I would say closer to like a really fatty beef type meat. It's really
Okay.
fatty. Yeah,
Okay.
super good.
Dang.
Interesting.
I'll have you over. We'll have a little.
Yeah, we'll have porcupine.
We'll
He'll have
feed,
plenty.
we'll feed up.
Did I hear too that you got a new
Porcupine
freezer
and rat
recently?
skewers.
Oh, the freezer. Oh shit. Yeah, that's a whole deal. But yeah, we got a new freezer.
And if you know Ryan and if he's like, I got a new freezer, it's like that's kind of a big deal because it's gonna get used.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. No,
Oh, man.
we kind of have like two going. One's in limbo right now. I'm not really sure what the status is, but we're between freezer scenarios currently. But yeah, all good. So we're in the meat collection phase right now. Tell you
I
that.
like it.
I like it. That's sweet. All right. Well, Ben isn't here yet. He texted me. He had to put a new pet away, and he just sent me a picture of an 11-pounder he was pulling out of his live well. So I think he got another one for his pond in the backyard.
Seems large.
Yeah. I just texted him. I was like, I wish I could like actually justify this accomplishment or what this is, but that's 5 pounds larger than my PB. So I couldn't even imagine.
Right.
Like,
It's kinda
what
like,
that's
I just
like.
got one to put in my pond. I was like, and it's 11p.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair.
But okay, we'll spin a little. We can do another little segment. We definitely didn't prepare for this. This is off the cuff, and it's just because I talked about the amount of wine I have drank recently. What have you been drinking? Sam Sobi, hit the people with a little hunting time.
Man, I'm kind of just going back to my roots of just old school Bush Light
It's the camo can season.
The camo can season, and folks they've searched far and wide to get these, and now they're pretty much mainstream in every liqueur store. And it's just the cold beer of choice come hunting season. And then also I've been on the non-alcoholic side. I've been pounding the Mio Energy, because when you go hunting, you take the wind to the face all the time. I've been pounding the Mio Energy in the stand. I've been liking it. It's been good.
Mio, that's going back. That's like high school days.
I know, it's OG. It's OG. But it's like, I got a water bottle, a little Mio, just fire it, and I've been it's been good. How about you, Hahner?
Honestly, okay, one of favorites, and this is gonna seem really lame, but it's like just enough. LaCroix. Oh, I don't know what it is. I love it. It's just enough because I don't like overly flavored, soft drinks like a soda.
Yeah.
Just enough. Just enough.
And it's got the bubble too.
I know.
I've always loved
fizz. Yeah. Yep.
Pink has been a known LaCroix hater.
Dude.
It fires him up, actually.
Let's hear it.
I mean, can you?
Oh, yeah.
Just enough. Just enough. Not too fizzy. Yep.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Hold on. Before we go to Pink, this is a shout out. Any of you listeners that have listened to this before, and this has to do with Cody and his drink choice. Steph and I, in the evenings, we like to turn on a little YouTube TV. And when we turn on YouTube TV, we love to watch Triple D. That's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
Yeah.
Guy Fieri, he was at a local, I want to say, I don't know, just Oriental joint.
Mm-hmm.
She was making some marinade and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden she goes, oh, yeah. And then I do 1 cup of soju.
Really?
And I was like, what? And Steph knows too, because Ryan shared it with Steph and myself. And we both looked at each other. We're like, no way.
Yeah.
A little soju.
And you're like, we're making that.
We're like, we can do that. We don't know what that is. And we felt pretty smart when we watched Triple D. And he's like, and Guy was like, I've never heard of soju before.
Well, of course I know.
And you were like,
Guy.
idiot.
Yeah. What an idiot.
Uncultured.
Yeah. Yeah. I've known about that for 6 months.
Yeah.
Dude, soju, I'm glad that's getting brought back up. Has anyone found a dealer or where we can get this?
Total Wine has an entire wall, dude.
Yeah.
Total Wine.
I went there expecting it to be like hard to get, and I was like, do you have this? And the lady was like, told me the aisle, and I walked there, legit floor to ceiling, 20 yards long.
And you probably didn't even know what it was.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
have you had any more soju recently, Cody? Or are you off the soju?
No, I haven't recently.
He's on the La Croix.
Bring it back.
We had the last bit of that bottle, and that was what we had. That's all we could really find so far. So I'm gonna have to drive over to Minnesota or something.
I want to say you're like 2 weeks out from Wisconsin deer camp, and you would be a legend.
Dude, if you showed up to your dad and your brother with soju at a Wisconsin deer camp,
what'd you bring? Soju.
Yeah, but
that would be the nail in the coffin if you brought that and then you also shot the biggest buck again.
No, that's what they'd shoot a big one and he'd crack a bottle of soju and be like,
his face would be priceless.
Oh my
your brother, your dad, what a dick.
What? God. Pretentious. Yes.
Oh my God.
Man.
What a Sims guy.
How about you, Pink? What you been drinking?
So I had this one saved up. I actually kept one because I was figured we'd do this, but I never had this before. Tried it when I was on my trip. Just happened to grab it at like the local grocery store or whatever. This beer, Odell Brewing Company. Heard of that?
Ooh, no.
Odell. It's like a Colorado.
Wait, is that
show the can to the screen
out there, right?
Show the can to the screen.
Fort Collins, Colorado is what it says on there. Odell Brewing Company.
Oh,
anyway, they got this one. It's called Isolation Ale. Got a little campsite on it.
Makes sense.
Whole thing.
Dang.
Pretty solid beer. Not gonna lie. I was dabbling with
You're
these.
You're not normally a beer guy either. So what kind of beer is that?
Ale.
I don't know, man. Ale.
That's all it says.
It has like a description on it and everything. Here, let me. I'll read it to you. Let me.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Let me see. I gotta get the light on here. So, it says, let's see. Here in Colorado, summer's barely over before one of our eye search. What does it say? What the fuck?
I don't
Summer's
know, you're
barely
the one
over
with the
before.
can.
I'm sounding it out. All right, give me a second here.
Take your time, sound it out.
Says, here in Colorado, summer's barely over before our eyes start searching for those first fall flakes and for the return of Isolation Ale, a sweet caramel malty ale balanced by a subtle crisp hop finish.
Mm. That sounds very Colorado-y.
It's all right.
How about
But-
you, Bart?
I said shitload of wine.
But what was your favorite? If you had to pick one,
did
Desert
say-
Island.
I said what it was.
What was it?
The chocolate brandy.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're picking that one as your favorite of all time ever?
Is that technically
it was-
wine, though?
It was fucking awesome. Yeah.
You know, it's got
It is
juice
Yeah.
in it.
I mean, it was, yeah. Yeah.
chocolate brandy, blackberry chocolate brandy.
Yep. All right. Well,
Polish.
our
Polish
guest
wine.
is here now. So, Sobi, you can introduce him. He's about to crack something open, too. So, this is perfect.
Is he backstage?
He's backstage. He
Should
just
we
got
bring him
here.
in?
Yeah.
He's back there.
So, Sobi normally does our introduction. So, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a fishing guru, a fishing phenom, a fishing industry phenom. He's somebody that the boys and I, we've looked up to and we've watched for many, many years. He has humble beginnings from Omaha, Nebraska, where he started his fishing career. From there, he went on to Iowa to play some college baseball. From there, he went back to Omaha, Nebraska to start the fishing team. Fart the fishing team. Cody, to start the fishing team. And from there, he graduated with an environmental biology background. From there, he picked up a camera, dove into YouTube between his 9-to-5 job, and that took him down a path that has led him to an incredible career with building one of the largest personal brands, becoming a bait designer, all the way to a local tournament angler, to a regional tournament angler, to now an Elite Series pro, fishing the Bassmaster Classic, fishing the Elite Series, and still running an incredibly successful YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Milliken. Boom.
Sound effect.
Wow, I don't think there's anything to even add on that.
Wow.
Was that all factual?
I don't know.
I went fishing today, and now here I am. That's all I got.
I love it. I love it. Look at the hair. How many inches?
I don't know. 4
Come
and a
on,
half,
you know.
5
That
on
was
a good day.
wig.
Oh, my hair.
Yeah.
It does look like a wig. It's ridiculous, man. I need to wear it down more, but it's gotten so long that it's just like I can't wear it down while I'm fishing.
That's wild.
That's
That
got to
is
get
awesome.
caught in a reel.
It probably would. It's a lot now, man. My wife was like, "So what are you trying to do? Like, what's the goal with this now? Where are we going with this?" And I'm just like, I go fishing. I don't know. It's gonna keep growing, and I don't really know what to do with it. Now it's ridiculous. So
When
here I
was your
am.
last haircut?
Well, I got it trimmed once, like a little over a year ago. But besides
Okay, I was
that,
gonna say
Back
previous
in
to that.
95.
95. Dude, the crazy thing is I got where's my wallet right here? I got my ID from Nebraska. Dude, my whole life, and since I was like 15, I had no hair. Look at
Oh my
that.
god!
Oh,
There's
wow.
me. Not quite the same. It does look like a wig now.
Do you ever get ID'd in a place and they're like, I don't think so.
I mean, now that I'm down in Texas, it's already like, all right, dude. I mean, you look like you got beard gray hairs that are older than 21 years old, so that helps. But
Give this dude a beer.
exactly. I got some beers. Hey, speaking of, you guys are talking about Odell IPA. That's like one of my favorite breweries ever.
Come
Fort
on.
Collins. Been there a few times to the brewery. Had some drinks there. That's like one of my favorite breweries. And now that I live down in Texas, down in Houston, like there's breweries here, of course, because the microbrewery scene's just taken off everywhere.
Yeah.
But we do not have good beers like up north. It is like this is
Yeah, what you
little-
drinking right now?
St. Arnold Art Car IPA. It's not good. It's like it's your best case scenario of finding a craft beer at a gas station, and that's all I could do on the way home. So
Oh,
that's what we got. But it makes me miss Odell IPA up in.
Well,
in
sorry, I
Gilmore.
didn't mean to like drop that bomb on you. Like,
Dude, that was messed up. Messed up of you to do that. But that
have
was
you dabbled with the Isolation Ale?
I have had the isolation ale. I'm such a
Unreal.
I drink so many, like all we get is IPAs. It seems like now, unless we're getting like some barley wine, or we're getting like some type of crazy, big bottle of beer type shit that they
Stein.
release, a Stein.
Yeah.
Outside of the
but
thick beers, what's the go-to beer down in Texas? Is it still Shiner Bock? Like, what's their Busch Light equivalent?
that
That
would,
Yingling is in the southeast.
I feel like Texas is like
Yeah,
Shiner
yeah.
Bock.
yeah. So there's Shiner, Texas is actually kind of cool because it's right by a lake that's actually really good. It's only like an hour and a half from where I'm at, actually. Shiner,
Really?
Texas that has the Shiner Bock. But yeah, I'd say there's a lot of Shiner Bock. But dude, I love the IPAs and all the craft beers. And when we go up north, like New York and stuff, it's crazy. You go to like gas stations and you walk into their beer cooler and there's like hundreds of craft beers. It's insane at random shitty gas stations. So I miss it, man. But I don't miss what I'm able to go do on days like today, where I just stroll out to a good little lake and catch giant bass.
Catch a decent one. Just a decent.
Yeah, I told them what you texted me.
Yeah,
I was that's cool.
Did you catch a decent one today?
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, no, honestly, like I don't even know. It's hard to say this without sounding ridiculous. Like, it was an okay day at best. I caught 11 and like a couple 8s and a 9. But dude, I had one bump my glide bait halfway in. I hit it like 110 feet out. I bumped my glide bait halfway in, like bit it and followed it all the way to the boat. And it was like 2 feet below the surface. I saw it and it spooked me. And that doesn't happen anymore. So we're going back tomorrow. I never go back to the same place 2 days in a row, but it was easily, I didn't see its belly, but it was easily 14, and it might have been bigger than that. I don't know.
That's so cool.
It was not really crazy.
It's honestly
It is
sweet.
cool, man. We freaking travel all over in the damn Elite Series and doing all this other stuff, and it's cool to be back down here. And I've been having a lot of fun, honestly, since I got back down here. It's just different down here for sure.
For how lame of a question this might be, what's the temperature been like down there? What are water temperatures? And like, what's the general weather been like?
Dude, today was like the first day I've seen a fall transition this year, honestly. Like, the water's still 76 today, and it's been like 5 days straight of storms and rain. Before then, it didn't rain for 2 months straight. It's been so dry. Wow. Even down here. So I'm in Houston. So Texas is just like its own country, basically, with all the different climates we have. Giant. But it's the jungle down here. And so for no rain for a couple months, that's crazy. But yeah, we're finally getting fall, like just starting fall right now. And so I like that. I mean, they start doing some cool stuff the next month or so when the water's like 80 to 50. And really, I mean, I'm from the north. I love when the water's as cold as possible. Like, I'm the only boat on the lake on the most popular lakes around here when it's cold, and that's just like the best thing ever.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like the favorite time of year in the fall for us up here too. Is just like who can keep their boat out the longest. The answer to that question is Hayden Anderson. Every time. Hayden definitely keeps it out. We all know Hayden. Hayden keeps it out the longest.
But that's kind of a cheat code because your blood is like kind of you're born with thicker blood.
Yeah.
And now you go down to Texas and people are like, it's probably freaking really cold. And you're like, no.
Dude, I just had a guy that hit me up actually because it's like Houston's different, man. Like, it's humid and it was 100 degrees every day for like 5 months straight, and it gets 100 at like 8 in the morning. And so I had a guy hit me up actually, and he was like, I install air conditioners, and you have a detached garage. I'll come install one. And I was like, you don't got to do that, man. He's like, no, I'll do it. Just shoot me some promotion if you want to, whatever. So I got my AC blasting right now. Dude, it's like 80 degrees in my garage. It's hot right now. It's crazy.
That's nuts.
It's so uncomparable. You caught an 11-pound bass today. I actually just fired up my Mr. Heater Big Max garage heater. 46 degrees in my garage, and you're sitting in 80, and that's just wow. We're actually not.
I was just sleeping in a sleeping bag, and it was 10 degrees like 5 days ago
on the mountain.
Unreal. that's what's cool though, man. Like people always hit me up from the north. They're like, you should come up to this lake. We don't got them like you do down in Texas, but we got like 7-8 pounders. I'm like, dude, I do not care. I will come up there. I love that. Like, it's all relative. And the cool thing is, like, I mean, it's all just about how hard you want to push it and how hard you want to go. When I lived in Nebraska, like, didn't have any vacation time, made shitty money back when I worked at a real job. We'd freaking blast out Friday night in the middle of winter, drive overnight, fish in Texas all day Saturday, all day Sunday, blast overnight, not sleep, go to work the next day on Monday. Like, people are so restricted and so held back mentally by restrictions when you can just go do it. You only live once, man. Like,
Sobi, this is going to be really good.
Up north.
This is going to be a really good Ryan Pinkalla podcast. I can feel it. I just thought of that. He was just going. So we've been trying to convince Ryan to quit the city of Chanhassen for the last about 18 months. And have you met Jay Siemens, Ben?
I haven't met Jay, but I have a ton of respect for Jay. I've talked to him a few times, and man, I love that guy.
Yeah, so we had Jay on in May, and he gave him like this awesome pep talk to quit everything he needed to do he was doing to go out and pursue, full time in the outdoors, YouTube, wild game, cooking, the whole deal. And then like it slowly faded away, and every once in a while we'll have someone new on who will help invigorate that again. And just from you talking about that, I'm like, oh God, today's going to be a bad day for me.
and before we prompt Ben on this speech, I will, in case Ben and Ryan haven't met each other before, like Ryan is exactly what you're saying. He's the type of dude, he's going to work all week and then he's going to pull the most all-nighters. He's the most, POV type dude. He's the most DIY type dude. He's going out, sleeping in his truck, hunting for antelope, doing this, cooking wild game, going on muskie trips, he's like the most diverse do-it-yourself outdoorsman, and he's all gas, no brakes. But he will not quit his job to jump full-time into doing what I think he should be doing is media and outdoor cooking and DIY type stuff like he does. And I really think he's not taking advantage of that. So give him the speech.
Living up to his full potential.
Yes, give him the speech right now, Ben, on why he should maybe dive in head first.
Live up to your full potential.
I mean, it just takes that one push. The push for me, the funny thing was I got sponsored by a company and a guy that I probably threw a little too much trust in from the start. And it was the point where like I was not making a lot of money. I was making like, what was I making? $1,900 paychecks. So that twice a month from my real job, that I got a fucking 6-year degree for to go do full time. And I think he offered me like $2,000 or $1,500 a month or something. I was like, done. I'll promote your shit. And that fell apart 2 weeks after I quit my job to go do it full time. Oh. And I was like, not good, but we gotta go now. And that's what that almost motivated me even more. So it's like he doesn't have to quit his job, but the thing that's I think important here is like there's probably so many people that are listening to this that work 9 to 5, and that's great. That's fine. Like that's like so many people should do that. That's safer, but don't like I get hit up by people every day that are just like, oh, I can't, like, I'll post a picture of like a 10-pounder or I'll post a fish tip or something at a lake down here and be like, well, I live in Ohio. I can't fish down that lake, but nice fish. I'm like, you got a car? Do you have $200? Like, freaking do it. You don't you're not going to do anything this weekend you're going to remember the rest of your life. Like if you drive all the way to Texas and you don't catch a single bass and you catch frostbite or you freaking fall in the lake or your car breaks down, whatever, like make the most of it. That's what you're going to remember the rest of your life. That's like how I met my best friend Zark. Like that's just what we did together. Like we fished tournaments and we drove freaking 14 hours to go to Texas, to go to crazy places in the middle of the night on the weekends when we had real jobs. And I remember those trips. I don't remember the weekends where I freaking, watched football and drank beer. Yeah.
Dang.
It's so true.
So true. What do you think about
Ben's way nicer than Jay. I like Ben better.
Jay's more thought out and well spoken and smarter than I am, so he probably had a lot better answer to that.
He's
but I'm just
aggressive.
gonna
Jay's aggressive.
drink these
Jay
shitty
basically
Texas
just looked-
IPAs. So
Yeah. We'll get Ben to drink like 5 of these IPAs, and about an hour and a half from now, when we're still on this podcast,
Let me tell
he'll
you
look
what.
at you and tell you a
this is number
completely different
6,
thing.
and I got 2 6-packs.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
pretty-
oh,
yeah.
yeah. Happy days.
I can
Yeah,
I can tell you, Ben, at the second one in that 6-pack is when we would lose Cody Hahner. And I can say that just out of experience, right, Cody?
Very much so.
It's not like
Depends on
we
what the percentages.
it's not like we stayed at a bar too long filming Chasing Ghosts, watching a Packers game, and all of a sudden things took a turn for the worse.
Mhm.
Wait, what's Chasing Ghosts? That sounds like something I should be a part of.
So that was
I think we caught you to the name. We're like, Ben Milliken's going to think of this name. We have to get it out there first.
yes, and we did. It was right before God, doing it now would honestly be, we really do need to bring it back. We should bring it back with Ben. It would be good. But we did basically up in the Northwoods chasing giant smallmouth, but it was right before live or anything really came out, and we were chasing those Cisco fish.
Yeah.
So like you kind of knew a bit about them, but it was way harder to like actually go do things with, to catch them. And then right after it, live and everything started blowing up. So Cody and I did that.
How did you catch them back then?
Same baits,
Yeah, same baits.
but on super
Bait
low
rates.
density lakes, basically.
Like you scan a live around and it doesn't look like anything exists type
Yep.
lakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
There's like 80
super
fish in
low
1,000
density
acre
lakes.
lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Cool.
that's what we did. It was
Northern,
fun. Well, kind of.
Wisconsin and Michigan.
Yeah, just we'll say northern Midwest.
Yeah.
If people wanted to go.
I've heard of these places. My buddy Brennan from Chapman from Do It knows of some of these places, so
Mhm.
he's told me about them. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some spooky places that exist. Some guys, I think, when they were up for the Open, even ran into a couple of them. But there's a lot of them still that haven't been opened up. But
yeah, I believe it.
yeah, and they're still learning a lot. We're still learning a ton about them, and I think that's what's been cool to watch. I mean, dude, with a lot of the stuff you've been putting out, like I know, something I wanted to ask you is like, how hard did you think about actually putting out that first OHIV video?
I didn't,
because like you had to know like that was a pattern and a thing that nobody knew existed at all that you could have had to yourself for a long time.
Well, I didn't live in Texas then.
Okay.
That was I don't care what anybody says. Like, so between me and my fishing buddy Zark and my camera guy, like I think that's the best day of fishing that anybody's ever had fishing. Just to not be like arrogant, but to say. And we had no idea what was happening. And it was the craziest shit I've ever seen in fishing. Just everything that transpired with that entire story and what happened. It was absolutely wild. Like, just like from why we were there to the weather to who I made the mistake of calling after to leaving. We left after 2 days and went to Choke Canyon because Sixth Sense we had like a get together with all the dudes down there, and we're like, oh, we'll just go catch them at Choke Canyon, and we caught like an 8-pounder, but it kind of sucked because the water was 40 degrees and muddy. And then we went back there, and there was 700 boats there on a 20,000 acre lake.
Mm.
Dude, it was the crazy. I cannot explain to you how crazy that shit was, and it would only happen where it happened down here in Texas. Like it could not happen anywhere else because there is. I'm not shitting you when I say this. You can't wrap your head around it. There is thousands of guys down here that apparently have full-size bass boats and can not go to work any day of the week and leave and show up anywhere in the state immediately.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Like-
dude, like I
it was
remember when that video
bizarre.
came out, like I would agree. I think it's definitely it's one of the greatest days of fishing ever documented freshwater wise. And I say that as I think of when we had Weeb on, for example, we chatted with Aaron, and I think of his hammering 16-inch crappie video. Like I remember when he posted that, where I was watching it, the whole thing. Like that's a core memory for me as a kid or an angler or whatever it is. I remember exactly where I was when you posted that picture in that video. And I was in Knoxville, Tennessee, filming Scott Martin and Gussie and stuff at an Elite Series event. It was the one Gussie won. And I remember seeing that, turning to Scott and Ari and Canterbury in the house and going, "Did you see this shit?" And they're like, "What?" And I think that was a reaction of everybody because nobody had ever seen anything like that before. Like, what was the 5 fish? 60?
Well, it was 60,
56?
but it was closer to 65.
Jesus
And
Christ.
like I've caught like 10, 50 bags since then, but getting to like the biggest I've caught since then is like 55. And getting to 65, getting to 60 is insane. Because I mean, there's a lot of lakes down here that have 8-9 pounders, like a lot of them in them, and then you got to catch them, of course. But to find a lake where you got that many, but dude, it was the most bizarre, wild shit. The whole story's fucking insane. It shouldn't even be possible to do what we did, and I'll never forget it the rest of my life. Like, it's something where like if I had shitty fishing experiences the rest of my life, I'll still be happy. Like I'm fulfilled.
It's gangster you did that with Zark too, because you guys had so much history before, and you guys would do like you said, you weren't living in Texas at the time, so you were on one of your freaking benders where you just go down there and you say, "Fuck it, we're doing this, we're going here, we're traveling a bunch of miles," and then it's like, boom, the stars line, you guys totally knock it out of the park, and to do it with like an old school fishing buddy like that, like when it first came out, I was like, "This is gangster, this is freaking gangster."
Dude, it was so wild. All right, I'll tell a little bit of it. Like we left, that was when that crazy snowstorm and ice storm and shit happened. And down here in Texas, they're like losing their fucking minds and can't leave the house because it had been like literally, I can't even wrap my head around it now that I've lived down here for 4 years because it was under freezing for like 3 weeks straight. And it was like under 10 degrees down here for like 2 weeks straight, which is nothing up there. But dude, these people lose their minds when it's under freezing for like 2 days in a row, like 30 degrees, because the infrastructure is not ready for it. And then it snowed and snowed. Well, anyway, so we were up in Nebraska and it had snowed like 18 inches. And we're like, well, it hasn't snowed for like 3 days. Everything should be fine and plowed. So, you know, that's how you are when you're from the Midwest. You're like, screw it. We'll go travel because it hasn't snowed in a while and it should be plowed. No big deal. So we freaking drive and we had this trip planned forever. We're like, well, we're coming down there. No problem. And we get down and it's freaking like a foot of snow plus everywhere until forever. And every lake we drive by, and it's like, it's negative 10 degrees the whole way down. And like, we get down to Wichita Springs in Texas, which is just north of Dallas, like an hour. And I have pictures of it. Zark, of course, we get there in the middle of the night. Zark's got his shirt off with jeans and
nice.
knee deep in snow. And it's like negative degrees just north of Dallas. We got there in the middle of the night to sleep in a hotel for a little bit. And I'm on the phone the whole way down, like Kansas, Oklahoma, like calling power plant lakes. Like, we're not going to catch any fucking fish if we don't go to a power plant lake because they're all frozen. And so we got to go to power plant lake. And we finally get a hold of a couple of these, and they're like, and we're like, okay, well, we'll just go to power plant lake. That's the only chance we have of fishing. The guys that live in Houston, 6 cents, they can't get to Choke Canyon because you couldn't even buy gas because everything's closed. And there's like, it's crazy. You can't drive because there's ice and there's no fucking ice.
There's no plows.
There's no plows. There's no salt. There's no nothing down here. And so we're like, okay, well, we got to go somewhere else for a little bit. And Zark has vacation. And I was like, well, I got to get a video. And so we're going to go and we'll just go to power plant lake. So I'm calling power plant lakes on the way down. sorry, sir, we're closed because of the ice storm. And I'm like, well, shit, we ain't going to sit around for 3 days and wait for shit to open up. And so I'm like scrolling through my messages, and you guys know how it is. It's social media, guys. You have people hit you up all the time. Hey, this lake's freaking awesome. This lake's awesome. I had one guy randomly message me like a week before, maybe 2 weeks before. He's like, hey, man, you should come down to OHIV sometime. We had a 10-pounder weight in our tournament last week, and the water's clean, so I think maybe big baits would work down here. And I was like, okay, I've heard that from 300 people the last month.
Yeah.
But, dude, it was like desperate times. And so we're like, okay, we're not going to East Texas. We're not going to South Texas. We're going to West Texas. And so we freaking divert our track, and we're just like driving down, and we're getting closer and closer, and it's like frozen lake. I'm like, shit. And we finally get down there, drive through the night, and we get there at like 10 in the morning or something. And actually, I think we got there like 6 in the morning, and we're like, we need to sleep. So we slept till like 9 in the truck, 3 of us, so not great. And we get out there, and it's like 12 degrees at the ramp. We launched the boat. Water's like 37. You know, it's Texas. They're Florida strains. And so I'm like, it was so cold. I was like, I'm just going to idle my boat. Like, I don't even know if I should run it. It's so cold. But it was the first, OHIV was the first lake we saw that didn't have ice on it for the 14-hour trip down.
Oh my God.
Meant to be.
Yeah.
I remember that week Pangrack texting me because he had come up. That was the first year I think we filmed the Crappie Chronicles, and Pangrack had come up, and he told like the crappie lake by his house was frozen, and he was like, how do I check to see if I could ice fish this? And I had him go out, and he had like 4 to 5 inches on the lake behind his house, and he was like, you should come here. And I was like, bro, I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee. Like, trying to just pay my bills. But yeah, I forgot about that. That's when Perrick ice fished in Texas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
yeah,
anyways,
you could have.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it was like once in a century type storm. But luckily, especially now with what I know about these Florida strain Texas fish, it had been cold for like 4 or 5, 6 days. To get to that point, obviously.
So they don't mind it when it's been cold that long.
They don't mind it when it's been anything for long. Like today, I had that issue the first part of the day because it was slick, calm, and sunny, and it warmed up today, but it had been rainy and stormy, and these fish do not like any type of change down here. But anyway, so yeah, we launched the boat. We're like literally in our like snow boots, gloves, everything, because it's 10 degrees and windy outside, like so windy. And it was Zark, we were both throwing, so we idle out, and I'm like, fuck, there's an island in the middle of this big cove, in the boat ramp cove, that has points that come off of it that dip into the main channel. We'll idle out here and see if there's fish here. And so I'm idling, there's like rock on side imaging, whatever. And so we just put trolling motor down, and we start slinging an A-rig around because you literally could not cast anything else. You know, you guys probably know how it is.
Yeah.
You definitely do.
Yeah.
Most people in the country don't, because you can't throw anything else that's not super heavy because your guides ice up so fast when it's under 10 degrees.
Yeah.
And so we're throwing that. We get a couple, we were like looking around. We're like, I think those are fish, and bumping it. And finally, I'm just like, I'm going to throw something small. And it's crazy to think this now because of like how many progressions we've gone through now with forward-facing sonar. I pick up like a 3-inch spark shad and a little 1/8 ounce head, a little tungsten head, straight swimmer with a spinning rod. And I'm with spinning rod, I'm able to cast something for a couple casts before it freezes up. And immediately they're just like, come up and just grab the back of it. And it was like 8-pounder, 9-pounder, 8-pounder, 6-pounder, 5-pounder. And I caught actually the state record mean mouth, but I threw it back because I didn't know it was a mean mouth. I was like, it's pretty, because
that's right. I forgot for like a week or two there. All of a sudden there's mean mouth and everything coming in.
Crazy largemouth, smallmouth hybrids at first, which don't exist anymore. That lake's just weird now. It's gone to shit, actually. But yeah, and so we caught probably like 10 or 12 fish that day. I actually don't think Zark caught a fish because it was so hard to catch them. And I had my 10-inch freaking Garmin screen down there, and that's what I was using a live scope. And I've never casted at fish and caught them before like that, just like suspended fish. I've like used my Panoptics at that point to catch fish on rock piles, to catch fish on standing timber or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. Dude, we go to this hotel that's literally like, it's still a giant shithole, but it was especially a shithole then. It was the only place that was open. They had like a generator running their power, and they had no running water. And they're like, yeah, you can stay here, but we have like no amenities. We're like, okay, whatever. I mean, we're going to sleep in the truck if you don't. So a bed would be great. They're like, we don't have any heat or TV or anything, and we're running water. We're like, okay, whatever. And so they're like, well, what do you want to pay? We're like, well, you tell us. I think they charge like $50 a night, and we still call it the pyramid room.
Cold bed.
Dude, it was bad. Room? We still call it the pyramid room because we all shit on top of each other's shit in the toilet.
That's unreal.
Oh shit.
So that's the pyramid room. But next day we go out there, and we go out to the spot we started on, and it warmed up. We go to launch the boat, and we're like, shit, we forgot to unstrap it, and we're like, pull it out, whatever. No, it's still strapped. Pull it, go to dump back in, whatever. Dude, boat was frozen to the trailer for like 30 minutes. We had to like dump it in and wait. Have you guys done that before?
Yeah.
And the boat floats your trailer. So that's super weird because it goes straight sideways with the wind blowing in like it was. Super fun. Just something that Southern guys don't know anything about.
Yeah, you gotta wait for it to like peel off the bunks, basically.
Yeah, it's great. And 37-degree water doesn't melt it too quick. And so we finally get it off, and dude, the sun came out and warmed up, and we fished our spot. Dude, we caught like 40 fish on an A-rig that were like 5 to 9 pounds on the. We had only fished one spot on the whole lake, just right out there, right from the ramp. Wow. We're like, well, fuck, we should probably go fish other spots. And so
I can just see you. We should probably try other spots.
Yeah.
Like,
so
what are the chances we just found legitimately the best spot on the lake immediately?
Exactly. There's no fucking way this is the best spot.
There's no way.
And you're like, if this isn't the best spot, what the hell are we about to get into?
Dude, for real. And where I was like, I should probably put the boat on plane this trip, And so we go down. I pull out my map, my Navionics. I'm like, that spot should have them. It's the longest point, the giant mouth by the dam of a cove. And I was like, let's go down there. So we go down there, dude. It was to the point where like the funny thing was we caught like so many fish, and I was like, okay, we got a video. And that was back when I was just like, good at doing YouTube, and now I just don't care. And I was like, let's I bet it would be clickable if I put 2 A-rigs together, and let's do the double. And so I was like digging through my A-rig box, and I finally found like 2 that would go together, and I had like 2 dumbest fucking things, and we put it on Zark's rod, and I was like, here, you throw it. And it took so long. It took so long for me to tie it on that I was like, no, fuck you. I'm gonna throw it for like a cast. I just got to throw it for a cast to see what it looks like on scope and see how it casts. And I like get on scope, and I like pan around. I was like, I think that's the fish. Fire it out there, and I was like, oh, I think there's one on it, and one bumps it and misses it, and I was like, dude, that was awesome. And he's like, dude, give it to me. And I was like, no, one more cast. and my personal best was like 8.5 pounds, 9 pounds at this point, and I had like caught one right at that the day before. And so at second cast with it, I was like, dude, that looks like a freaking 12-pounder on the scope. And I fire it out there to it, and it connects with it. I'm just like, oh, and then I'm like, I snagged a freaking gar, carp or something, comes up, and giant 12-pounder. And 12 something on the scale. I don't know what it was. And our scale ended up weighing way light, actually. And so I catch that one, and I was like, holy shit, 12 plus pounder. And that was crazy back then. Like now I caught an 11-pounder today. It's nothing. Like I've caught so many of those down here. but like an 8.5 was so big for me when that was my PB. I'd come to Texas the year before, and I caught 12. I was like, this is just like, this is crazy. And so I fish a little bit more with Zark, takes his pole back, whatever, catch a bunch. I caught another 12-pounder, 12 plus, 12.5.
Was that also on the like double A rig?
Well, no, it was just on a single A rig. And because I had given it back to him, I didn't want to take the time to tie it on. Dude, we were catching literally, I don't think a fish swerved us on scope.
I was going to say, they had never seen that before, had they? So it was just like
they had never seen anything before. Wow. It was crazy. It will never happen again.
No.
It was just like, I can't tell you, like we caught 50 every spot we went over 5 pounds. It was insane. And that was with a 10-inch scope screen. We didn't know what we were doing. Little tiny guy. And so finally it got to the point where it was like 3 o'clock, 3:30, and I had caught like 100 fish, giant ones. I was just like dicking around, you know, like I'll throw a 9-inch, 10-inch Savage Gear carp swim bait, 8-pounder, whatever, you know, just do whatever you want to do. And Zark puts on my chest cam. I'm like, I'm taking a break, drinking a beer. I was mentally freaking gone. Like, didn't sleep very well that night in the cold, whatever, the night before, driving overnight. I was like, you guys fish for a little bit. I'm going to see if I can text my wife. And Zark freaking bows up with one, fighting it. I get the net, and it was a 16-pounder. The biggest 16.4 ended up being. And it was like 15.8 on my scale is what it was.
So like you had just caught a 12 for the first time in your life, and then you see the 16. Are you like, this is Dottie? This is it? like
no, it was just like a Twilight Zone, man. Like,
yeah,
like
you probably out of it almost like you didn't even really you probably blacked out.
Like
especially having not slept, you're like, I'm hallucinating this.
Dude. Yeah. And that's how like every trip has been, honestly. But yeah, I caught a 12, which I mean, just to put into reference, like my biggest was almost 9 pounds before that. Like not even a 9-pounder. I caught a 12. Then I caught another 12, and I caught like 10 more that were over 7 to 10 pounders. And then I was just like chilling. Dude, Zark's fish, we never saw it until it got to the net. And I was just like, we all just about passed out when it got to the net. And we're like, there's no reception out there. We are the only boat on the entire lake. Like, that was the funny thing. Like, only boat the entire lake both days. Not a single other boat out there. Wow. And we go back to the ramp, and we're like, what do we do? Like, it's a 15. It was 15.10 or something on my scale. And like, are we just gonna like catch this every day down here? Is this normal? And so we're like, let's take pictures. Cole was there, camera guy. We're like, we'll just let it go, and we'll have the memory. We got the video. We got it on scale. Everything. It's awesome, amazing. And so we're like, fuck it. Okay, let's let it go. So Zark gets on. We go back to the dock. The sun's going down. It's getting pretty dark by now. It's down. And we let it go. And it freaking kicks off, goes out. And then it floats back up on its side. It's still alive, kicking on its side. And we're just like, fuck, we can't leave it. Yeah. And so in theory, we went out in the boat and got it. But actually, Zark threw an A-rig and caught it and reeled it in. And so we were like, well, we got to fizz it. And so I'm fizzing it. Nothing. Kicks off again. Comes back up. We're like, shit. And so I start calling around. I'm like, we got to figure out the share lunker number to take this fish and try to revive it, because we can't get it to come back. It's going to die if we let it go. And so we get the share lunker number, and they're like, that's awesome, man. Are you sure it's over 13 pounds? And we're like, yes, it is definitely
You're like,
over 13.
substantially.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And they're like, great. Well, can you meet us? They're like, we don't have anybody out there. Can you meet us at? And we're like, well, we're fucking going to Choke Canyon tonight. And they're like, oh, you're leaving there? We're like, yeah, we got cabin rentals down there with 6 cents in the group and everything. They're like, oh, well, can you come over to this place and meet us? We're like, cool. And so they're like, you should you should take it to a certified scale. Is there any way you could go to the marina? And we're like, oh, we didn't know there was a marina. And so we drive up there, and dude, there's like no, I can't even believe we got a hold of them, honestly. There's no reception anywhere on that damn lake. And so we get up to this marina, which is like a guy that's at the gas pump where there's not even a card reader or anything. It's just like you go pay whatever inside. We go in there, and the guy's leaving, and we like wave him. We drive down the road to catch him and wave him down. And he's like, oh, what? And we're like, oh, we got a big fish. Do you work here? He's like, yeah, I own the marina, the spot and everything. We're like, cool. And so he's like, is it over 10? We're like, yeah. And so he's like, cool, I got a scale. So we weigh it, and it's 16.4 on his scale, which is like the certified whatever from the
certified scale.
They go check them every single year or however often. And 16.4 on their scale, and we're all freaking out. It was the lake record for that lake, and I guess Ivy was like fucking popping off from like 2006 to 2010, and we caught the lake record the second day we were there. Well, we were just like, this is a fucking, and then no offense to him, David is awesome. He actually, you should see this place now. It is freaking incredible. Tackle store,
Right to the nines now, yeah,
dude,
no
it's
doubt.
insane. They're a huge 6 Sense dealer, Waterland dealer, everything. Like they got all our tackle. Like it's been a great relationship. But we're just like, oh, this fucking guy at the lake, whatever. You know, he took a picture and weighed the fish. We're like, get to the road a mile down. We're like, we should find somewhere to eat, and our phone starts buzzing. We're like, okay. They're like, oh, you got a 16-pounder? What the fuck? Because it was all like the 6 Sense guys and everything. They're like, we can't even leave yet. We're like, oh shit. How did you hear? Because we didn't say anything to anybody. They're like, oh, that guy posted it on Texas Fishing Forum. We're like,
it was that fast already.
I didn't know that.
oh
Wow.
my god. Yeah. And I'm not gonna probably tell apart publicly about another shitty thing that happened that made it way more public, but that was the main thing. And so we're we're like, fuck, we gotta eat, because why would you eat or sleep if you're trying to catch big fish? You're trying to catch big fish.
Yeah.
So you don't do either of those. You just shit on shit and you catch big fish. And so we get, an hour down the road, we eat, and we're still talking we finally get some reception. We call Share Lunker program. They're like, are you guys coming, or what's happening? And it's like 9:30, and we're like, yeah, the fish is fucking dead. Like, it's floating. It's like on its side, dead. And in the live well. And so they're like, all right, well, we just try to keep it running on your recirc, whatever. So we finally make it down there like 3 hours away after we eat. And they're like, it was weird. They're like, so there's a little bit of a legislation issue. You're not allowed to transport fish because you can't transport water in the state of Texas, and you might get a ticket for this. Just want to let you know before you legally say that you transported this fish to us. And I was like, Zark, what do you think? Because this is your problem, because you caught it. And he's like, all right, whatever. So we never heard from that. But yeah, dude. So we freaking met him in the middle of the night. They got the fish that was like, the color was okay on it, but it was not, gills were not flipping nothing. And we literally met them at 12:30 a.m. They met with us at this like private facility that they had. I don't know what city it was in. I can't remember. I was so out of it. And we met them there, and they took it, and they put in the salt bath and everything to revive it. Dude, they revived it, got it back to life, and it's still at the Sherlunker facility. And I just went there for the Bass University seminars I did last January, and it's still like up in the front tank and everything. They said it's super rare to have a fish that's like photogenic and like is okay with being around people and stuff. And this fish is just like living its best life, saying hi to people, and in their front tank of their building. and they brought it freaking back to life. It was crazy.
That's
So
unreal.
I thought for
That
sure
is
you were gonna say you
unbelievable.
staked it out, dude.
dude, yeah, we told everyone that when we went back there, that like that fucking 16 was insane. So anyways, we go to Choke Canyon, we hang out with the boys, we freaking caught some fish and drank some beers, and it was such a funny thing. We got down there and the guys finally get there because they can't get there. They're like, oh my, it's crazy, this fucking storm. And like Luke Duncan and Darian come in from Tennessee, and they're like, I don't know how we got here with the storm. We're like, yeah, whatever. It's crazy. And we fished for like a day, and we're up drinking at night, and it's like midnight that night, and we all lay down in bed. And it's me and Cole and Zark, and we're laying in bed. It's pitch. We turn the lights off, pitch black. We're all freaking, I'm not gonna say we're drunk because that wouldn't be okay to drive. And so we're laying there in bed, and Cole's like, we should probably leave because we're gonna go back to Ivy in the morning. Like, we should probably go back. And we're like, yep. And we all we freaking threw our sheets over. We flipped the lights on. We packed our suitcases up. We fucking left that place at like 1 a.m. and we drove until like 4 a.m. to OHIV, slept for like an hour in the truck, and we got back out there. Dude, there was no less than 400 boats on that lake that day.
Oh
my gosh.
Yeah.
And
Oh
and
my
it
gosh.
was
It's still
dude,
gotta
friggin'.
feel like crazy to just be like, we did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
It
that's
was
got it.
bizarre. And like Jimmy Houston's out there, and all these fucking guys, these guide services have like moved their guide service from Lake Fork to OHIV
Overnight.
like in
Wow,
3
overnight,
days,
yeah.
just gone. It was the craziest shit I've ever seen. Everyone's just like ripping freaking 8 to 10 pounders, and it was bizarre, man. And so then that was like that was when I think they had like 21 share lunkers there that year, maybe, or 18 or something, over 13 pounds, and so that was crazy. But Zark's record held up until last year. So I mean, that was a crazy fish to catch the second day we were ever there.
Wow.
How many
That
people fishing it? It's insane.
Wow.
That was bizarre, man.
That's
So
incredible.
This kind of ties into the story. How did you meet Zark? How did you guys come to meet?
So we both fished ABA. Do you guys have ABA up there?
Yeah.
We do.
it's
It
American
has
Bass Pro.
approximately 8 boats normally. So we didn't you
Yeah.
fish in ABA?
I fished in ABA, yeah, and I thought it was a good time, but they're just
Yeah,
like not super popular up here.
Yeah, no, it's not super popular anywhere. I don't know how they stay open, but me and Zark both fished this series in like Northwest Missouri, Southwest Iowa, and I knew of him, but I didn't know him until we both like you have to have a pulse to qualify for the championship because they want to get everybody there, and so we both go to the championship, and I somehow for the first time ever stayed in a hotel room. I think my wife gave me like $200 for the week. And because she had a job and I didn't, and so I stayed in the hotel, and the director, who I didn't know Joe, Zark, and the director's like calls me one night, like the first night of practice, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "Dude, do you know who Joe McKay is?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know of him. I don't know him at all." He's like, "Well, he's at the championship, and he's fucking." Like driving to people's houses in the neighborhood and like asking them if he can stay in their yard and stuff for this week. Is there any way you could let him stay in the do you have room, and is there any way you could let him stay in your hotel room? I was like, oh God. I was like, no, but that sounds like someone that could pay for half of my bill. So yes, absolutely. And so he freaking shows up, and Talladega Nights was on TV, and I think we became best friends that night, and it's all history from there.
That's incredible.
It's
good.
crazy. Can't make it up, man.
If you would have said right now, Ken Zark, quote, Talladega Nights, I would have been like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why I got like shake and bake on my rap and stuff, and all the Talladega Nights references, man. We always say stupid shit about it.
Oh man, that's incredible. Over an ABA championship. Wow.
ABA championship of all things, man.
Wow.
That's awesome.
What did
Yeah,
it
I
take
mean,
to
we-
qualify?
Dude, we fished a tournament. It was at Old Hickory at Nashville, and me and Zark still call it Old Suckery because it was a 3-day tournament. And dude, that was crazy. First place and second place won a Triton boat in that tournament, and there was only 210 guys in it or something. Dude,
There's 250 in the whole ABA across the nation.
Exactly. And the other 40 guys were sick or something. Yeah. And dude, it took 24 pounds to win in a 3-day tournament.
3-day event.
Wow.
Yeah. And the guy that won
Stout.
had like 19, 6, and 0.
Old Suckery blanked on the last day.
Old
Won a freaking boat.
Yep. Old Suckery pre-live scope in October was not fire.
Oh my god.
Oh, some
Yeah,
mental
it
games
was
going on
wild. It was wild.
Wow.
But yeah, that's where we met, man. And yeah, I that's another thing. You never forget doing stupid shit. Like that's what I'm saying, man. You don't got any money to do stuff. You just freaking go do it with what you can and make memories. Like that's something that I'll never forget.
there. That's awesome.
Well, that's still so. That was honestly the best story of the recap of that day I've ever heard. That was fantastic. I loved that. But you still didn't answer my question, and
Let's
that
hear it.
is, do you regret putting that out?
Oh, that was
Like
the
you
initial
could have
question.
held
Yeah,
that
I
to
forgot
yourself. You were one of the first people to ever throw a suspended fish in the fall and everything. Like like knowing what you know now, looking back, I'm sure would be different. But like, did you ever have any thoughts on it, or was it because it blew up so fast you were like, whatever, I'm putting it out? Or you get what I'm saying? Kind of like that
Dude,
was
100%.
literally Pandora's box open that day.
I'd be lying if there wasn't like there's a lot of feelings that are involved in something like that, and like a lot of like deep thought and relationships and stuff with that can never be repaired with things that happen with that. And I thought about it today without you talking about it or anything. I thought about like, fuck, remember that? That's just a thought that goes through my head, and it's gone through my head thousands of days since then. And it was different because I didn't live down here, and so I didn't get how much of these people are just psychopaths down here. But really, the thing was like, it wasn't because I put the video out. It was because of Zark's fish. And the crazy thing was, it wasn't even supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Like we weren't even supposed to weigh the fish because Zark. We tried to let it go twice.
Yeah.
We let it go without.
And realistically, you guys didn't leak it either. Like that, the dude that owned the marina kind of leaked it. So it's like
100%.
there's so many different chain reactions.
The crazy thing was like he lived like crazy thing. That's 7 hours from my house, by the way, right now, where I'm at right now. He lived 10 minutes from where I live now. He lived like part-time out there, just like a summer gig, like whatever, people show up in the summer to check out our pretty lake. Now he lives out there full time like the last 3 years because it blew up so much, and it changed their lives, and they moved. And like, dude, it good on him. It worked out well for him for sure.
Did you ever talk to that Instagram guy that you got?
You were like, sorry.
Like, dude, he's got to be like,
we're like, yo, your Tuesday nighter out there was awesome. Thank you for letting me know you got that 10p.
I honestly, I think I messaged him one time after that, and I was like, yep, it was good.
He's like, not me. That's not me.
He's like, I know, I saw.
Thanks, dog.
drives.
It's Bassmaster's #1 lake in the fucking country. Yeah. I guess you're right.
That dude does not have Instagram anymore. He deleted that shit so fast.
He doesn't
deleted
even
that
fish.
shit.
That dude, if you are listening to this podcast
Oh, man.
and you send us a screenshot of proof of that, I want to post it, and we'll figure that out. Because that's the
I
most.
swear to God, he golfs.
That is the most legendary DM in the fishing world.
It really might be. he might have deleted everything by now, not just social media. But dude, I do feel bad. And the crazy thing was, like, I'm so careful. Like, dude, I'm crazy. It's, if anything, it's maybe so careful now. Like,
dude, I feel that with like the way we film everything we do, timing on putting out videos, certain drone shots we use, certain ones we did. Like, you know how it is. Like, you're always
100%.
trying to just create.
You can't
doubt.
use drone shots. Yeah, I mean, you almost can't use drone shots. I can't use drone shots down here.
Well, I would say, like, something that's nice for us is land of 10,000 lakes. I can,
of course,
go drive an hour and detour people compared to you don't have that luxury, I suppose.
Yeah, we've thought about doing. I've had an idea to do videos where, like, I lie about where I'm at, and then I show footage from a lake that's not the lake I'm at, and then I go back there and I like ice fishing wise. This is my idea. So we catch fish on Lake B, and you're in a tent. That's the great thing about ice fishing is you're in a tent most of the time, so you can do what the fuck you want. You can stay wherever you're at. But on the way out there, you can be at Lake A. You get footage going to Lake A. Yeah. And you have like an epic day at Lake B. Well, then you say you're at Lake A. You break down, like, you try to strategically break down Lake A and say you're out there and whatever. And then the next day after you put it out, you go back to Lake A and you just go out and interview people that are all out there. And you're like, hey, what made you come out here? And you're like, oh yeah, we saw your video, we're big fans, whatever. And then you just, like, I don't know. It's probably pretty rude to make people look like fucking idiots, but I think it would be hilarious to do something like that.
It would be electric.
Dude, you don't know how close Waldo and I were to doing that one day. It would have been the end of season 2 because we put out a video of a bunch of big ones. And like you said, very careful with filming it. Filmed one thing wrong that I was like, didn't even think of. And all of a sudden, a bunch of locals show up. And Waldo and I go out there and we look at our area and we're like, what the hell? How did that get figured out? And then we had a different buddy who showed up and we're like, go over there and see what's going on. Like, I don't really want to get in there and like blow our cover. Like, maybe they just happen to be here. I don't know what's going on. And he said he went and walked through there and talked to every one of them. And everyone was like, yeah, this is where the Chronicles were last week. And you're just like, Jesus Christ. Like, why can't we just learn about fishing, not spots, you know? And I'm sure you get that. I can't even imagine what you get with people following your boat. Have you found an air tag yet? Anybody throw an Apple air tag on your boat or truck yet?
Not yet. But dude, you're spot on. It's crazy how it's really crazy how our sport is. It's like that. The people are so on it like that. I've heard, like, I even heard, like, Hackney was on Mercer's podcast the other day, and he was like, dude, I'll straight up say it. I don't think social media is a good thing for fishing. It was not a good thing for fishing. Social media getting created was not a good thing for fishing. And I mean, obviously we're all on social media right now, and my job is available and my living is available and my house is available because of social media. So I have a different perspective than Hackney would have on it, but, you know, he's not necessarily wrong. I mean, when we're talking about a conservative practice of, you know, going out and fishing with our family and friends like we have for generations for food or for, you know, pleasure, it's not necessarily a good thing for the sport of fishing. So it's interesting.
How are people so good? That's what I don't understand is how are they so good? Like, I feel maybe I got a shit eye, but I've never like seen a spot and been like, oh. I've never even like, because I feel like if you're on social media or whatever, like I feel like it's like mindless. Like I'm like on autopilot type deal, but I've never been like, hold on.
Especially in one, like, you ever been
Dude,
where you were there?
Yeah.
And you don't even, like, I'm in the video and I'm like, I don't even know where that is. And then there's people who are like, yep, I'll go there next weekend for sure.
People are incredible. They got eagle eyes. They're really,
I don't know,
it's
man.
crazy.
I'm pretty good at it.
Are you actually good at it? Are you gifted?
I was going to say I'm with Hahner on it, and it's not like I don't necessarily care or like use that much, but like for example, the Minnesota state record crappie got broke like yesterday again, and I saw a picture of it, and Griff was like, "Do you know where that is?" I'm like, "It is literally right here." And he's like, you know that? I'm like, I know that for 100% fact. Like,
Not from the
that's where it is.
background. You recognize that from the fish.
No, I recognize it from the fish and the background.
He was
Where
born.
was it at?
Where was it at?
It got published. You can
All
find
right,
it on the
prove it.
Minnesota. You can find it on the Minnesota DNR website. But like the lake name is there, but like it's also being like, yeah, it's not lied about. Like I know where that is. And that's a crazy thing is like I think with what we do and what you do and Sobi does as well, filming videos, is like we try to teach people how to catch more fish and have a better time. And at times, I'm sure you can speak to this, dude, it gets exhausting when you feel like people are skipping all this great information and knowledge you've learned that you're trying to teach people for the end goal of, I just want to know your spot.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
like
that's
so
the constant
frustrating.
battle.
And it's a really
Yeah.
hard part of being a content creator.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, it's so competitive with how many people are posting good content now that I mean, Sobi knows this. You guys and Adam, you guys are the kings of good B-roll and content. Like you guys get it. You can't get that type of content without showing something framing wise of your background. It's just you just can't get the shot you need to get. And for people to steal it and go do that, it sucks. And it's funny because like I'll get messages all the time. Like I post my boat for sale the other day, and people are like, "Well, how will it come with the waypoints that are on it? Because I'd pay more for that." And it's like, fucking go ahead. You want my waypoints, dude? I got 4,000-5,000 waypoints on there. Good luck going to them. Like,
Yeah, you
I
should
don't even
just
know
say
what.
yeah. Absolutely.
You should just say
Yeah.
and charge an extra
Yes.
$50K.
Yeah, $10 per waypoint.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I literally have no idea what 95% of those waypoints even mean. So good luck. Like, people are crazy that think that it's gonna like help them. And I mean, I play games with people. It's kind of fun for me. It's gotten to the point where like I can totally play games with people about where bites are happening, and I'll post a video somewhere. If I actually post a video somewhere that I know the background shows where it is, I'll wait to when it's out. And I'll post some like really cryptic stuff about where it is, and then they'll get completely blown up. And I'll only do that when I know the bite's changed and I'm on something somewhere else. And that makes my heart so warm. I don't know why it does, but it
That
really
makes
does.
the heart
Hey,
so warm.
But
We have
okay,
done the exact same thing.
yeah,
Like,
isn't
is
it
the
nice?
best. Oh, just knowing that a bite is toast and like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, I'll post it
Just
now.
when
And
they're
then
like, they're gonna show up and be like, oh, there they are, and they're like, fuck, they won't bite. Fuck, they won't bite. Oh, they might bite. Oh, they won't. They spend their whole day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and they're like, shit, we can't catch them, but they could. They're so good. We could not catch them, but they could. But that was something that. Okay, I'm gonna crack another beer open. While I was fishing today, I want to talk to you guys about something that I think is really funny in the fishing industry. I keep hearing over and over and over that I think is hilarious. People keep saying there is no more secrets in the fishing industry anymore. There's no more secrets anymore. And it's like,
oh man, God, we're gonna watch this back 5 years from now and just shit ourselves.
How would you know?
Yeah.
How would anybody know if there is?
Yeah.
What?
Okay, so we didn't know that, like the jighead minnow, like we didn't know that was a thing, like as big as it was 2 years ago.
Like 2 years ago,
Like,
not a long time ago,
Dude, I remember talking to Gussie about that a few years ago. Him and I were just chatting, and I was like he was throwing that down south in the FLW tour and stuff, 2D and stuff, and catching fish, and it was like, did you ever think that would be there? And like just how like, and that's how Gussie made his name up north. I mean, with Rainy and everything going on, was a smeltinator. So like seeing that and then the development, it's crazy. But yeah, dude, like talking like there's no more secrets. Like I'm sure you could speak of, Ben, like you're the guy pushing, you're one of the guys I would say now pushing the envelope with forward facing sonar, big baits, all these different bites going on there. And you know, what we do on the ice fishing side, I feel like we learn so much new information every year and things changing that it's like I start to get less worried about people catching up at a certain level, because it's like it changes so fast that unless you just stay on top of it and are constantly open-minded to it, you're screwed.
Yeah, it's
Of
like you're
course.
sitting out there and just like never seen that before.
All the time. Dude, I caught fish on a bait today. Like I caught my 11 and a 9 on a bait that I hadn't caught them on ever before in my life.
Wow.
Today.
That's
Like
awesome.
there's okay, and what does that even mean? Like there's no more secrets in fishing anymore. Well, okay, there's I mean, you can get information faster by watching Bass Live to catch fish, and you can get information by watching social media, but how do you know there's no more secrets? Like, did we know about dice baits 3 years ago? No. Like,
dude,
3 years ago.
I was waiting,
one year
like,
ago?
so
Like-
I will openly state this. I was selfishly waiting for that live footage of the Leech Open to come out to know how Easton Fothergill has been beating my teeth in for the last however many years up there. And then it's like this little dice bait, and I'm like, like
Yeah.
I went through so many baits and I didn't go through that. You
But
know,
that's just
And you're
like that's just
"Fuck,
like
Exactly.
one
learning."
example, you know. Like even earlier this year, like I got different buddies who are way JDM dudes, and they're like showing me all this crazy shit early in the year. And this is even spring of this year, and then like Dice is one of them, and I'm like, that's absolutely just ridiculous, especially for up north and these little largemouth, these weird like largemouth, and it's like no. Then it comes to play all over, and it's starting to get big time now, and you're just like, and that's one small example of how it just. Yeah, there's plenty of secrets. There's so
exactly.
many secrets.
And what is the secret? Like, if I
Yeah.
know a bait works, and Taku knows the bait works, and Jay Shakura knows the bait works, and fucking I don't even know who else. Like, is that a secret still? Like, no, we know it, but it's a secret if this guy and this guy and this guy that fish the lake don't know it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. It's
Or
like
have confidence in it in general. Even if
Yeah,
they know it works,
exactly.
doesn't mean they're
I
going to
mean-
throw it. Doesn't mean they're going to
Ex-
throw it right. Doesn't mean they're going to believe in it. Like,
Exactly. You can't have that mindset where like, oh, whatever. Like you can go put whatever on camera because it's not a secret anymore. Like everyone knows forward facing, so everyone knows this. Everyone knows the techniques. Like, no, like a couple guys might know that, but they probably never fished this lake ever because they live in fucking North Carolina and California. So
Yeah.
like, that's the fun thing about fishing is like everything you do is unique to yourself, and there is secrets and there is different presentations that anybody can do. So it's just that's what I've figured out down here in Texas. Like the big bait thing is crazy, the forward facing sonar thing is crazy, and the little bait thing is crazy. People are starting to get on that, but it's still like it was wild last winter, like freaking wild. Had some crazy days on 3-inch baits down here in Texas because people don't throw anything besides a 7-inch blue fleck worm, you know? And so like it's there's so many crazy things that happen in different parts of the country. And that's like what we did up in the North Country recently with smallmouth, man. That was a crazy trip. That was again, that was not OHIV, but it was as close to it as probably we could ever get in our lifetime was to go up there. Hopefully there'll be other opportunities to do different stuff. And I know a few other lakes that I could go to where there's been some 9+ pound smallmouth caught.
Yeah.
And I hope in some point in my life I can catch a 10-pound smallmouth. And I hope it's not in the Great Lakes region. I hope I can do it somewhere else just because it'll be cooler, I think.
that'd be way
just
cooler.
different. But yeah, man, I hope we can make it happen.
Hahner, we got to link up with him at some point to bring back ghosts. Because
Yeah,
everybody's been
that'd be
asking for
fun.
that. It'd be fun. It'd be a good one to do to bring back to the life. Because especially now knowing so much more about it. Like, and that's the biggest thing with learning about forward facing and all that. But so you were talking about the whole YouTube journey and everything. And I just want to know, like, so you quit your main job getting into it. How were you like worried for a long point in time, or when did it all start to click for you? Like, were you in the days of where Sam and I talk about this frequently of like 10-minute videos killing, or was it like, what was your approach to really getting that going? Because I find it funny now how, you know, you hop on various podcasts and all anyone wants to talk about is like the Elite series and everything. And it's like, dude, you built this like massive following and everything doing the YouTube thing. Like, that's where we all first found each other and knew each other.
Yeah, my biggest thing with YouTube, and it was a totally different algorithm and a totally different platform and amount of people that were on it, and as content creators back then. Sobi knows this too. So I my thing was when I started it, I was like, I'm going to do fucking everything. And I have worked so hard in my real job. I'm going to put 3 times as much effort into that, into YouTube. And fuck all these guys that are posting videos now. There's like 10 guys posting fishing videos. I'm going to post twice as much as they are. And I'm going to post every type of different content there is because I can. And I'm going to go from there. And I was fishing tournaments and stuff, bass fishing tournaments before then. But I was like, dude, I'm going to go out and I'm going to freaking go to the creek behind my house. I'm going to make a video catching creek chubs. And I'm going to go over there. And I'm going to, with my son, I'm going to catch bluegill and little rocks that are in between on night crawlers. And then I'm going to go do a bass fishing frog video over there the next day. And then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to pre-fish for a tournament, shot a pre-fish for a tournament because that's how I do it. And then I'm going to go win that tournament over there. I'm going to fish that next day. And the next day, I'm going to come back and I'm going to freaking go to this different river. I'm going to throw cut bait for giant catfish in this river. Dude, it was just like crazy how much. And it was like I would fish for 3 hours, bust my ass to get content, sometimes, 3 to 5 hours. And I'd go back home, edit the video in 2 hours, boom, put it out that night. And I was doing like 5 to 7 videos a week. I'm going to throw as much shit on the wall and see what sticks. And really what people wanted at that point for the first couple of years was as much shit on the wall to see what sticks. They wanted to hear my story. They wanted to see everything because it was real. It wasn't fabricated. I would swear, which was weird back then. Like 7 years ago when I started, because I see these videos pop up like 7 years ago. It's like crazy. I can't believe that was that long ago. But yeah,
I still can't believe it was that short ago too, though. Like if you really think about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
if you think about like how long you went to college potentially, like you went to college for how long?
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah, and then
for
like
a bachelor's
how long?
degree. Because I keep switching around. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, how could you figure out what you want to do? Like, I don't know, man. And yeah, it's crazy to think that. Like, I went to school for 6 years, and now I've been doing this for 7. That's insane to think about. That's a good thing to bring up. Wow.
Because it feels like probably 20 lifetimes compared to
it probably does. Yeah,
life.
like however long you spent in college, that probably seems like a minute amount of time opposed to this. Even though you're going fast in this too, very fast.
It does because college was crazy for me because like I went to University of Nebraska at Lincoln for a year, like never like mostly because I was a Nebraska fan. I was like, I'm just gonna go there, and I turned out a bunch of scholarship offers to play football and baseball. I don't even know why. And then I was like, and then that went terrible, like horrible, like didn't go well, and went to a community college for a couple of years, played baseball there because I got a scholarship offer because I went back and played like my super senior year in baseball in that summer. And baseball was terrible in college, had to spend way too much time on it, and couldn't even go to class because we were doing so much. And so I was like, well, this ain't gonna work. Got my girlfriend pregnant, and so when I was 20, right when I turned 21, had my son.
Yeah.
And it was like, fuck, this is not what I planned on doing. And so went to the University of Nebraska in Omaha in town, and like newborn, trying to go to school, graduate college. It was a fucking disaster for like 3 years. And I don't wish that upon anybody. And so like, yeah, that college just was a terrible experience for me. And it was so much work and now I obviously like I got nothing out of it. Like going back to it, I don't have I have my college degree. I graduated at least, I guess, if I ever want to go back to anything with that, which I will not. But yeah, man, it's crazy to think that that's where I was then. And it just kind of it's really proof that like I always felt like I had so much more to share with people because I was so obsessed with fishing and so ate up with it. Like I was up till like 2 a.m. every night in college, like on fishing forums and looking for information and stuff and like trying to figure out fishing. And yeah, now here we are. It's wild.
Like you say, you got nothing out of it, but in my mind, I feel like it's just like it was a difficult road you went down at certain periods that make other roads easier. So it's like you driving to Texas in 18 inches of snow on a whim to go shoot a video. It seems like a big hurdle for a lot of folks, but you're like, no big deal. Because at one point in time, like you said, you had a newborn, you're going to college, it wasn't working out. Baseball, you're like, shit, you're ate up with fishing. You don't really know what you're going for. At that point, that's a way bigger hurdle than just driving through 18 inches of snow. So it's like, I don't know. I see like everybody's road's different, but for yours, I don't know. There's different hardships that you went through that I guarantee just, I don't know, made different things easier for you in the long run.
And just know, Ben, you have a college degree and Sam Sobi does not.
That's true. That's true.
Eric convinced him to drop
That's
out.
So true.
He literally got
Senior year.
nothing out of it.
I got nothing. I was the super senior.
He dropped out of his
victory
super
lap.
senior year to get his degree and dropped out.
Oh,
Damn it. That's fantastic.
Damn it.
Don't get me started with that. No, you're right though. I mean, that's like a good perspective to look at it. And it's dude, it's totally true. Like if I didn't like sleep for 2 hours or less a night for like a year and a half straight, I wouldn't I didn't care at all like about anything after that. Like I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go fishing. Like I'm gonna go fish these tournaments. Like I'll drive overnight, whatever. Like I did baseball like 16 hours a day for a semester in the fall every year, and so it's just like if I get through that, then yeah, Iowa Western. Yep.
Well, I think too, that's a thing looking at like say the YouTube world now or people making content now. Like the guys who made it or have gotten to say where you are doing things, they put in that insane amount of effort of like overnight work and all this stuff. Whereas now it feels like sometimes people like go try to do YouTube for a month and they're like, oh, it didn't work. And it's like, how much effort did you actually put into it? You know? And you were just like, no holding back. I'm going full head of steam.
And it was like a lot more opportunity then. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Like the opportunity for me then was way greater than it is now. I like my buddy Austin Neary is doing this. Like he's putting out like 5 videos a week now, and he's great on camera, and he's not getting any traction at all. I mean, a couple thousand views a video, and he's posted some like clickbait type political
he's trying to get views is what you're saying.
Storm type stuff with the hurricane. He got like 700,000-800,000 views, but dude, it's such a hard platform now. It's so much different, and I people ask me all the time, even close friends, people I don't know, whatever, how to get started, how do I do this, like how do I work hard. And I mean, you can work as hard as you want now. Like I could bust my ass and do this overnight shit and be crazy about fishing and everything now. I don't know if it would work if I started now. So yeah, I mean that's a huge thing is just coming in at the right time, and I luckily did that.
Yeah, I would agree. Sobi, what I know you got a bunch of stuff written down that you want to go through. What else?
Yeah, let's completely flip the script here. Are you ready? Are you ready for just a quick off the wall question?
Dude, Sobi, you're like my long lost dog. We have not had the conversations that we should have because we're like you and I are like connected, but we haven't. It's weird because we're homies, but we haven't had these conversations like we should have because we've both been on the inside of like the start of all this fucking fishing YouTube stuff, and we're so fucking busy because we work hard. We've never like talked about it. So let's fucking go, man.
Okay,
yeah, we'll talk.
Can we
talk
say
about
fuck
it
on
here?
this podcast? Can I say
Absolutely.
No.
Okay, good.
No.
Shit, damn.
Good. No. All right, great. Good start.
All right, coming at you with 2 hot ones. When did you become involved in being a fan of the rap game? When did you meet Prof? And when did you guys start fishing together? And where has it led to now? your guys' relationship. Prof is a
Hell yeah.
Minnesota rapper. He was, I would say he was semi up and coming, kind of when Ben was up and coming.
I remember
knew about him
going
for a
to one
long
of his
time.
small concerts when I was in Winona.
Yes,
like a small concert.
Yeah. So we've kind of messed with Prof for years. And then back in the day when you were kind of on your come up, we'd seen you fishing with Prof. And I'm like, yo,
I'm like, this
no
makes
way,
no sense.
There's no way Ben knows who Prof is. And there's no way Prof knows who Ben is. How does this all connect?
Dude, fucking insane. Like, first off, the first question with the rap game, like, that's all I've listened to I don't know, since I was like 12. And so, yeah, learned about Prof because I went to an Atmosphere concert that he was at.
Okay.
I went to several.
Yeah. Atmosphere's old school OG first Av stuff from Minnesota.
Yep. And so I learned about Prof through them, and I was like, fuck, this guy is crazy. And so I started going to Prof concerts, and he would always come to like the Midwest and stuff. It's crazy. He went to the Midwest and Omaha and stuff a lot more than he'd come down to Houston and the South. Anyways, yeah, dude. So I think he posted like a couple fishing pictures way back. Like, I don't know when my first video was, 5 years ago, probably. And I commented on it, and I was like, hey, you're fucking awesome. I go to your shows and stuff. Like, I love to fish. Come fish with me sometime. And he DM'd me. And I was like,
I get down with the fish.
Dude, it's crazy. It was fucking wild. I can't believe it actually worked out. Like, you hit up someone that's like a celebrity. And I was like, all right, I got a place I fish that's like 3 hours from you, I think, if you're in Minneapolis. That's fucking awesome. And we're going up there now. Like next week. And he's like, cool, man, I'll meet you up there. What day works best? And I was like, no, this is wild. So he fucking meets me up there. Dude, it was like, even like, we went up there a couple of years before, and we've gone up there ever since after then. And it was like the most wild, like, the wind never doesn't blow up there. And it was slick calm then. And it like, he came up for 2 days, and it was like, I met him. We go out, and we're just like 5 pound smallie, 6 pound smallie, 5 pound. Like, it was just like on beds, not on beds. It was fucking wild. He's fucking a great fisherman. He's legit. He's like he fucking picks up my spinning rod and starts whipping spinning rod. He's like, I'm bringing my fly rod tomorrow. And I was like, cool. You're
like,
you do that?
I was like, I have no idea how to do that. And he's like, oh, it's something I just fuck with. Like, it's what I do. And dude, he picks up fly rod, and he like is whipping around. Dude, we didn't like turn it in or anything because it's lame, but he caught like the line class world record for his fly rod, like on a couple different tippets and shit, like throwing a fucking fly around to these smallies. Like, holy shit.
That's gangster.
And he's like, this is awesome, but you got to come up to Minnesota and do this. I go to this river that got all these different species in it, and we can do a bunch of multi-species and catch and cook shit. I was like, fuck yeah, dude, whatever you want to do. And so he takes me up there the next fall, and we go up there and we like hike into this shit, and it was flooded, but we made it work. Like, it was fucking awesome. And next year we went back again, and it was way better because it wasn't flooded. But yeah, man, I still talk to Prof like every couple days. Like, he's one of my buds, man. Like, and he's so fucking down to earth, and he doesn't give, like, it's the point where like I can feel how he feels, but not really. With like a level of notoriety, I guess, and like with your job. And so like, it's funny because I'm nerding out because he's a rapper, and like he goes up on stage and these people are losing their minds, and he's nerding out because he's like, I don't give a fuck about rap. I just want to go fish, and I want to be in the outdoors, and I want to do this shit. And I'm like, fucking A, man, let's do it. And so like, we still like, we haven't done a video series in a while together, but we still talk all the time. It's funny. He bought a lake house somewhere on a lake in Minnesota, and he bought a boat. He bought scope. He's like a big scoper now.
That's sick. Prof is a scoper now.
Prof scoper, dude. He fucking he gets it, man, and he just wants to catch, and he wants to be in the outdoors, and he wants to take people in the outdoors with him. And dude, he's the man. Like, it's so fucking cool. He's like the most down to earth, chill, normal ass dude.
Wow.
But he also is smart enough to know the persona that fucking kills in his music and his
Yeah,
career
totally.
there. So
Oh, totally.
yeah.
And extremely talented, by the way, too. Like he is, he has been, even though he's really blown up, a lot of different singles have blown up. Like he's been extremely underrated since his start. Like he's so lyrical. He's incredibly talented lyricist, incredibly talented rapper.
Ben, I bet you didn't know. I have probably 3 mixtapes somewhere in my house that have Sobi as a rapper.
Yes.
I do. God, I need to find those.
One of our best friends.
I need to put them. I need to put them out right now. It's one of your best friends, but I gotta find that.
He had won some contests to do some open shows for Atmosphere, and I don't think Prof was there, and different First Ave stuff. So I love the rap game. That's all I'm saying. I love the rap.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
I love the rap game.
Honestly,
as a retired rapper myself.
I'm not surprised by that. I'm not
for the right
Saint at all.
For the right St. Jude donation this year to a listener of this podcast, I can find these for blackmail for someone on Sobi.
Yeah,
for me
and
I'll if you donate the right amount of money.
Right.
That's fucking great. That's so good. My so when we went on that first trip with Prof, he's like, my buddy Roz is gonna come too. And I was like, cool, whatever. Let's fucking do it. We're camping, like hiking in. So he comes out and we're dicking around and we get by the campfire and shit. And he's like, yeah, we used to do some music together, whatever. And I figure out he's Roswell, who is like done a couple albums with Prof, but totally fucking, these guys are so normal and just love the outdoors. Like it is crazy, man. And Roz still like fucking messages me all the time, like all these inspirational shit, like keep going, man, you're fucking killing it, all this. And it's like it's crazy to hear from these guys.
That's awesome, dude. That's incredible.
Awesome. You brought it up, Ben, but I do want to dive into it. I think you and Sobi do need to have some of these conversations about the integral beginning part of YouTube, because it'd be so cool for, I mean, I know some of it from the outside and chatting with all you guys, but like going through all that at the beginning, like Sam moves down to Texas, moves in with Alex, John, everybody over in the Guggen house, and you're doing your own thing. Like it's 2 completely separate paths. But did that ever like mix at any point in time or any sort of on there, Sobi?
I'll have Ben take this one.
I knew the answer to that, but I just had to lead it on some way.
Wow, Adam, I had never thought about that before. I don't even know where to go with that. Yeah, definitely cross paths, 100%. Me being friends with Flair from Omaha, and then all that shit that happened. God, it's crazy to even think back to where that started. But yeah, I mean, basically what happened, they were blown up and I was doing well, but I wasn't like on their level of fame or anything, but I was doing things totally different. Like they were straight up like, I think and Sobi can correct me on this if he was way more involved in their side of things than I was, but for their side of things, it seemed like they weren't doing things the wrong way at all, but they were just like, shit, this is crazy. And people don't realize the value that we're bringing. And so we're going to be like us against the fishing industry type thing, which I get because I still deal with that from a social media side of things. Like I want $10,000 from a sponsor because I know that's my value. And they're like, we'll give you $200 worth of product. And we're like, fuck you. Over time, you get so fucking jaded and pissed off about stuff. And so I get where they were at when they were, 21 years old or 20 years old or whatever they were. And it's a crazy time, like wild time in the fishing industry. And I'm happy that I'm not going to lie. I'm happy we haven't heard the G word and the GS word in like 4 years now because they went away because they didn't fucking care and they suck. Anyways, I digress. And so, yeah, I think like it was an interesting dynamic. It got to the point where like I grew and they were way up here and they were like, hey, do you want to be a part of this? And I was like, I'm not sure if I want to be a part of this. And what do you, and I was like, I want to kind of dabble in it. And I was like, oh, well, fuck, you get the people you're working with suck, like favorite rods, dog shit. And they treated me like I was going to get a deal with them and they sucked. I don't even know if they're fucking around anymore. His favorite rods are a company
I
anymore.
don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't think they are. And they're like, here's our bait, our soft baits we're coming out with. And I was like, those suck. And I was like, you know what? I'll be friends with you, and we can film together and we can push each other's stuff, but I'm not going to work with you because I already got a relationship with Sixth Sense, which is just kind of starting up. They don't have rods or nothing. They just had like hard baits. They didn't have soft baits then. And, yeah, basically they weren't cool with me working with Sixth Sense anymore. And I was like, well, favorite fucking sucks. Your soft baits suck. Okay. And, but if you don't want to be, we can be friends still and film together. No. Okay. I was like, okay, well, that ain't good. And so we kind of went our separate
I don't see
ways
how
at
this
that
didn't work
point.
out.
Yeah. And so that's my story of the Guggen Squad. But still, even after I made my video, after I connected Casey, the owner of Sixth Sense, with the Guggen Squad, and they had their meeting together and went over what bait designs he could bring to them for hard baits when they were thinking about releasing hard baits. I'm trying to think of this in a political way that is going to be put out there. And they disrespected Alex Perrick in their meeting with him and were totally unprofessional in their meeting when they had with Casey. And they're like, yeah, we'll use your stuff. And then they called up Casey a couple months later, like, hey, we just want to fucking buy Sixth Sense. And he's like, no, that ain't going to work. We're growing, whatever, but I'll still design your baits for you. And they're like, I say they, you probably know who called Casey. Sobi does. And he's like, nah, that's not what we want to do right now, but I'll still design baits for you if you want. And then they come out with, we don't hear anything back. They come out with 8 baits, a year later that are maybe potentially the same molds with some slight corrections to them from baits that we had just put out. And I made a video about that. And so even after that, they asked me 2 different times to be a part of the Guggen Squad.
Huh.
So
Wow.
I am
Dang.
not part of the Guggen Squad. I will say that.
Okay.
Like Pink said, I just can't see where this went array.
We're now I want to
Yeah,
jump.
Let's hear it, Sam.
I want to jump 10 steps forward just because you kind of know how the inception of social media and fishing and how they melded together, how it happened, the progression of that, the fast progression of that. Like where does it go from here and what do you think is next? If you had to predict, what is the fishing industry and social media like in 5 or 10 years from now? Like how do you see it? And I'm not even talking on the pro fishing side. I'm just talking the fishing industry in general and then how the social media side kind of intertwines with it.
Shit, man, that's a great question. That's a really fucking good question. Well, fishing is different than professional tournament bass fishing because like that's my focus now, but that is such a small niche. Like tournament bass fishing so small. And we're involved in that and we wish it wasn't, but like and I didn't realize it until I really focused on it because I was in the same boat as you guys with making content ice fishing and making content for multi-species, and I still fuck around with it. But dude, like I can't do a whole lot else besides tournament bass fish and focus on that in the off season because these guys will fucking kick my ass. They're going to anyways, and they will kick my ass even more if I don't fucking get better. And so it's hard to say where it's at in 5 years. And what are we talking about? So are we talking about the tournament fishing and bass fishing, or are we talking about overall?
Fishing
I'm
industry.
kind of overall fishing industry, and kind of how it melds with social media. And maybe if I had to give an example, like last week or a week ago, we had on somebody called Buddy Jaron, and he kind of blew up initially through TikTok, and he harbored a lot of followers really fast. And then he's kind of transitioned that a little bit to Instagram. He hasn't transitioned like any of that to YouTube, but it's almost like a different world now. Like people are seeing him for his short form content. He's gained a lot of fan base from it, hasn't necessarily monetized it, but like he's found a different little niche there, and that's been his niche where he's grown fast with it. And I don't know. He doesn't know where he fits in the fishing industry, or he doesn't know if he's in the fishing industry. He doesn't know, but like I see similarities there that I saw back then. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Where do you think it's going to go? And also, like, long form content, like you said, if you were to start right now with fishing content, it's not exactly the same. Like, it wouldn't have the same effect. And I don't know, where do you think social media in fishing and the fishing industry is going in the next 5 to 10 years? Not on the pro fishing side.
Sobi, and I would add into that too, like even looking at the video side, like you said earlier, Ben, like it's hard for Austin right now getting started in YouTube, but you can still look at a guy like Jay, for example. We were talking about the other day. Jay's exploding right now. Like his channel,
but he's not new. He's not new either.
No, but it took a long time for it to go, and now it's going, and he's doing different sides of content. You know, like Weeb and Uncut. He's been around. I mean, he might have been one of the first people doing it, and he still drops 4 to 6 videos a year, and they go huge. But then you got guys doing short form stuff, and there's still some new guys sprouting up. So there's spaces there, but yeah. Anyways, Ben, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's like any other market where the cream's going to rise to the top, and the more talented people are going to succeed. But the crazy thing is, like, and we're dealing with this right now in the Elite Series. Like, there's so many guys that don't understand how to make money in the fishing industry that it blows my mind, even though they're the best fishermen in the industry. And there is really the fishing industry is small in the scale of things, but there is so much opportunity if you fucking look and work your ass off to make money from different types of ways in the fishing industry. It's just like you guys talking about getting your buddy involved and quitting and doing it full time. And that's a hard jump to make, but I mean, I don't think it's going to get like, you know, you listen to Ken Duke talk about the sport of bass fishing, and you talk and listen about how many, fishing license sales there are, how many people buy boats. Number of people that buy boats has not increased in like 50 years.
Wow.
And the people that buy fishing licenses
is Ken's just bass industry though, or is it all around?
When he talks about boats, it's all around. When he talks about fishing licenses, it's all around. And so he said that I think we went from God damn it, I wish I would have written it down or known this number, but basically I think it was like 6 million. That's not right.
Even if you have to generalize.
Yeah, so like the number of people that bought fishing licenses in like 2018 prior to COVID was this number. It went up by like 10 million in 2020, but then now it's back to like 1 million more than it was before then, right? So our sport didn't grow at all. And college and high school fishing tournaments for bass has not grown the sport, because the amount of people that fish and buy fishing licenses are influenced before the age of like 12 or 13 or 10 even. Those are the people that are going to spend their entire life fishing. And so what he was saying was, like, this industry is not growing. And so you don't need to be overwhelmed by the fact that there's people on TikTok now and all this. It's difficult to make a living on YouTube now because it's more saturated. I see in 5 years from now, I really don't see a situation where there's even more fishing channels. Like I seriously think people can make a living now if they're smart and if they're legitimate, like they care about it, they want to work hard at it, they want to post on a lot of different platforms, they want to see what they're successful at. Like I think that they can make that living in the fishing industry on social media side of things. Of course, tournament fishing is totally different than that. That's a skill level. Like if I wanted to post tip videos, I could do that, no problem. But tip videos don't make you better at fishing. I'd get my dick kicked in on the Elite Series if I post tip videos all the time.
No kidding. Dang, that's interesting.
Sorry, dude, I just don't have an answer for it. Like, I don't know where it's going to be in 5 years. I don't know where it's going to be fucking tomorrow, to be honest.
Yeah.
Man. Like, I really don't, like, it's not going to go away, but I don't know. Like, TikTok is such a fucking myth and a weird thing. Like, you get all these views, they don't mean shit. Like, it's such a weird platform. Like,
but then maybe you could post tomorrow and get this many views, and it still means like shit. Yeah, so it's like very weird. It's very fugazi.
It's a weird platform, and I hope Trump comes in, and he's not going to. But I wish he would just cancel it, but he won't. But it is what it is.
Damn, that's a good answer though, because I like your answer almost in the fact where you said like I don't know what it's going to be tomorrow, and I feel like maybe if someone had asked me that question, that's how I feel like I've been answering it for almost like the past 5 years. Is like shit moves so fast and it's so weird, and still even if you've been operating in this industry or this space, like there's still so many unknowns and stuff that works. Like you said, you can throw shit against the wall and see what sticks. And some of it does, some of it doesn't. Some of your best shit will never stick. And some of your worst stuff will, for some reason, stick. And you'll be like, it's just, it's still weird.
Well, listen, Sam, like I have been on every fucking fishing podcast. I've been on Mercer however many times. I've been on Bass Talk Live a million times. I've been on Renwick's show. It's an awesome show. These guys do awesome stuff. Like, if you actually care about fishing, this is the biggest thing. If you care about fishing, like this is not this sport is not social media. It's not tournament fishing even. This is a conservative sport to put food on the table, and now it has turned into something where we're creating, lifestyles and we're creating jobs from it. But when it comes down to it, it's about people that love the outdoors, and the more channels there are, the more different platforms, different channels are on, the more people are going to gravitate back towards the people that they can genuinely tell love the sport of fishing and love being in the outdoors. And it's like I texted you this morning. I have turned down podcasts more than I ever have. I used to be a yes man, like I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And what I realized was like people were taking advantage of me. People were taking advantage of, you're an Elite Series pro, whatever. And I'm not saying I'm anything high up. I am no better than anybody else. Like I went out fishing today. Tomorrow I'm going out fishing. That is fucking it. Like, if you love the sport of bass fishing and you have created a platform, I want to go on you guys' podcast because you guys are my homies. Like Adam and Sobi, I know you guys for a long period of time. Like I'm not on. I just, it's to the point where it's just like there's so many people trying to chase a dream. They're trying to chase clicks. They're trying to chase views, and that's easy to see through. And over time, people are going to tell when you genuinely care. And what I see from you guys' podcast and you guys' stuff that you put out, you're there because you care about fishing and you care about each other. As cheesy as that fucking is. Yeah. And you want to put out a good product. And you're not in it because you want to be fucking millionaires. Like, it's just like, it's crazy that fishing has become that way, but it really truly is. And that truly is what's going to take things to the top. If you care about what you're doing on every minute, every hour that you put into your job, then it's going to fucking work no matter what platform you're on, whatever you're trying to do. But if you're trying to fucking take shortcuts and try to get these clickable topics to tear people down and get these crazy clicks. Like, you're not going to go anywhere if you go on TikTok and you're trying to do these, cringy little fucking trends that you try to get on. Like, that ain't gonna do anything for you. It might get you some clicks, but like, if you care about fishing, like, this is a different thing than like being a professional football player. It's a totally different thing than a sport, a mainstream sport. Like, this is a pastime. This is a hobby. This is something that people need to invest in the future. And so it's something, it is insufficient as it seems at times with what you're saying with, like, I don't know what tomorrow's going to look like. And I don't either. Like, it's something that's a long-term play.
Totally.
And so we're lucky that we get to be part of an industry that is people that are that invested and that passionate about something that's different than sports, that's different than these other genres that are part of the mainstream media, sports, everything else.
Yeah, I think like what you said with people coming back to content too, of the people that are there, you can tell genuinely like it. Like, one of the reasons we started this podcast and started doing this was just to have fun. And like, you can tell the people who are genuinely having fun doing this. And that's why, like, when we do Pass a Barb, like, we keep it loose and we have fun and joke around, because this is what we all do when we're hanging out anyways. Like, this is a lifestyle and this is what we enjoy. So like you said, I think it's really easy to see, whoever pops up and is just trying to get up there to get up there. Whereas, we really enjoy the process. And like you said earlier, the best memories are driving through the middle of the night and going doing whatever trip it is. And it's that process of just enjoying the outdoors and the experiences you get to do in it.
Yeah. And I totally agree. I agree with like what Ben said too. Like, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and the cream rises to the top. And also, we operate in a sport, like Ben was saying, where like it's a lifestyle and so many memories and so much passion is a part of this, where we live this shit and we bleed this shit. But also, even if somebody only does it on the weekends, but they still love it, they bleed that shit too. And you've seen it, whether it be at sports shows or weigh-ins, or fans come up and talk to you. Like, you could have the quietest dude in the room, but he might see Ben Milliken or he might see Cody Hahner at a muskie show, and he'll come up to him and he will pour his guts out and talk more to Cody Hahner, who he's never met, about one muskie incident and some shit that happened that really struck home than he's talked to his family in 10 years. And that's just kind of the cool industry we live in, where it goes a little bit deeper than just like, you're not going to be a millionaire, and it's not just all about making a quick buck. It's people love this from all aspects, whether you're in the industry, out of the industry, you do it on the weekends, whatever. It's a lot of passion mixed in with this fishing industry.
100%.
That's what makes it badass.
I gotta pee. I'll be right back.
Yeah, take a quick pass.
I was waiting for that.
I also have to pee. I broke my seal like an hour ago.
When he comes back, I wanna change it up just a little bit here when he comes back. Yeah.
All right, you're good.
But this has been good. I kind of liked how that conversation was steering, just kind of like how things are changing. Oh yeah, we're getting it.
Yeah,
oh,
I don't know whose mic that is.
Nice. Loud and clear. That's a hell of a stream. Wow. All right.
Quite the compliment.
There's no way that's Sobi. There's no way. That kind of flow.
Oh, Hahner and Pink. So going through all that, you guys obviously just been soaking it in, but what do you guys think of kind of the whole deal going on?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I like getting the perspective, obviously, from Ben. I mean, he's done a lot of cool shit. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. It's nice to hear from people that you don't chat with a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Brian. Like, I mean, he's a master at his craft. So honestly, in this, like what we're talking, it's best for him to just say what he's saying and let him tell the story by giving small inputs. Yes. Keep him going.
Yeah, no shit. it's good. It's good.
All right, we'll be back here in a.
That was a hell of a piss, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a piss. That was an
That was
IPA piss.
incredible.
That was
Oh my god.
No, dude, we got the full audio of the whole thing. It was fucking good, dude.
Yeah, I ain't cutting it out either. You're gonna get so many compliments on
Good.
your stream.
Well done, sir.
Oh my god.
If the precursor was
incredible.
a pyramid of shit, and then you just pulled that off, like we only know
Yeah.
what that urinal looks like.
That
Inside
took my
the
breath
basket.
away. That was fucking great. That was incredible.
Oh,
All right,
man.
Pink, what did you want to dive into?
All right. Well, like I just to kind of follow up on that about just like I don't know. I feel like people in fishing, they're passionate. They do a lot of different things. There's a lot of different avenues in fishing. You know, everything from bass fishing to musky fishing to everything under the sun kind of deal. And like I think for a lot of people, there's like, you know, everyone still has these like aspirations of doing cool shit, going on cool trips, stuff like that. I know you're so invested in like bass fishing. You do it as a profession. You fish for a lot of different stuff too. But I enjoy seeing other people's cool trips when they go on, you know, and do badass shit. But I saw semi recently, you did a really cool tuna trip. And I know that's probably something a little bit different than what you're doing day to day kind of thing. And is that something that you like done before, or is that like kind of more of a bucket list thing, or just like, how did that play out, or how did that come up? Cause it looked badass. I mean, that I think it's one of the coolest fish to like target and all that. And like, I don't know. It's one of those things I see somebody go on a trip like that. I'm like, I got to hear about it. So
Yeah, my buddy Oliver Nye, a lot of people know him from Big Bass Dreams. He was freaking huge, man. Like original swim bait guy from California, fished the opens and stuff for a couple of years. So we've kept in touch and we've been friends. You know, I went to California like 6-7 years ago when I started my channel, fished with him kind of randomly, but planned a whole nother trip with him like 4 years ago. Swim bait stuff was awesome, but the swim bait stuff's kind of died down in California. The trout stocking has kind of gone away. That's a whole nother political issue, but yeah. So he's been hitting me up. You know, I went out. He asked. I was at Champlain last year when I was went there after the St. Lawrence Open, and he was doing a kids camp. Asked me if I'd be a part of that with him, and so I went out and took some kids out with him. And we got to talking, and he's like, dude, you know, he's been talking about this the last few years. He's like, this is crazy and different the last 3 or 4 years. These tuna have started to come up here in Los Angeles. It used to only be like a thing in Mexico. Global climate change has made their progressions further and further north with the warmer temperatures in the ocean. You got to come check this shit out because we're catching them on like fucking, bass tackle. And I was like, okay, deal. And so I was like, 3 years ago, I was like, I gotta get out there. 2 years ago, like, oh man, I gotta get out there. Last year, I was like, I gotta get out there. And then this year, I'm just like, fuck it. I was honestly, I got done with the Elite Series. I was like, needed a change. I was feeling kind of depressed. Like I just needed something different. And yeah, man, I went out there and it was incredible. We went and it's an experience, man. If you go out there, like it's like 80, 90 miles out into the ocean on his boat. And it was like rough.
Oh, wow. So you're way out there.
Way
Yeah,
out.
it was like 6 to 10 footers the whole way out, but he had a 32-foot boat. And so we were just fucking right over the top of him. No problem. But it was still freaking rough. And so we just bottom fishing. And so we're catching all these fucking like these orange rockfish and shit, like just bottom jigging. I was like, whatever. They're like, no, these are like good. Well, come like turn forward time, get home. Like I processed some of this fish and I took it back with me. Dude, this stuff is like, it's this white fish and they process it for me. Take it out. It like smells like lobster crab meat. It doesn't smell like fish at all. And I start making like ceviche with it and like all this stuff. Dude, it's like the most incredible tasting fish. And they were trying to tell me that. And I was like, whatever. We're fucking just like dropping stupid ass squid and shit on the bottom, whatever. And so we do that. And he's like, no, we need to wait till like this middle of the day in the afternoon. And then the tuna will come up. Dude, it was wild. You freaking, I was like, okay, whatever. And so we go out there, and this dude's like, he's got his crew members. They're scanning the horizon with binoculars, with these like battery operated focus binoculars. You could see like 10 miles out on the horizon, and you're looking for a bird or a splash or something. And we finally find some. Dude, we get up there. There's freaking, everyone's freaking out. See them. There's thousands of tuna, like 80 to 400 pound tuna blowing anchovies on top.
Oh,
and I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. But we're trying to like ease up to them. Dude, it was shad spot, full on shad spawn. And it was like high spots too, like where it would come up from like 4,000 to like 1,000 feet. You don't want to be like, you don't
It's
want
like they're on the ledge.
It's my hump. It's my hump.
It was crazy because Oliver's like, dude, it's exactly like fucking bass fishing. You just add 1,000 feet. You know, all right, makes sense. You don't want to be in like 700 feet. It's too shallow. You got to be on that drop. But it was crazy. They were way smarter than I thought they would be, because we would ease up and he would like kill the engines, drift in on them. We'd fire. You know, the thing is, you can't wrap your head around this, but we wouldn't even cast on them if they were giant, because they would fuck you up too much. And I realized this because one of the dudes,
so badass,
dude, one of the dudes in the boat had a 500 Lexa, like Daiwa Lexa 500 size reel, braid, 140 pound fluoro, whatever leader, firing out their top water. Boom, hooks up. It went zzz, and he had it locked all the way down, and it freaking went and locked up and started smoking, and the fish, it went pop and spooled him, and his reel was smoking, and it was done. It 500. You can't have a 500 size bait caster, because they will fucking destroy it the first run. It will explode it, because locked all the way down, it will explode your 500 size reel. And so I was like, oh shit. And so you're trying to throw a big topwater on a 13,000 size like Stella or some shit, like a spinning reel, and it sucks to throw, but it's like what you got to do. And so eventually, like, we couldn't catch them, and so we put this fucking kite rig up. So they have like a damn helium tank and shit with a big ass balloon to put a kite up, and then you go up in front of these fucking schooling tuna, which are moving 20 miles an hour, and you drift this fucking flying fish, this big, like a double treble hook rig, and they got like clear tube hard plastic things to make its fins go out, zip tied to their fins because they're dead. Dude, three pack of the flying fish is $90 at the bait store, dead. Crazy. And so we're fucking, you like, one run reel has the kite with the fucking balloon on it to control it better. It's like an electric reel, and you let it out. And then another reel has a line hooked to that, and you're trying to like coordinate fucking getting in front of it. Dude, we finally get it, hook up, whatever, and bust off the first one. 400 pound fluoro, broke it off. And then the next one, freaking finally, like, fight it forever and caught it. 160 pounder. She's in my freezer out there. Badass. But
$1,000 tuna.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was crazy. Those tunas those blue fins are different than even the yellow fins. They're more rare. They're like, I mean, it depends on what type of meat they are, of course, if you watch Wicked Tuna and shit like that. But it's like, that's like a $20,000 fish.
How bad did you want to shove a tube down there and lay it out on the table? And be
I
like,
did.
What
I
do you
wanted
think
to
of
fucking. I want to be out with the pinwheel crew, just freaking lighting one up. But anyway, so the next day we were throwing topwaters to them, and they actually bit the topwaters, and we're freaking
So sick.
That's sweet.
crazy catching.
That has to be the most abrupt bite of your life when they hit
It's
it.
wild. The crazy thing is the fight, because it's like you couldn't cast to them if they were over 150 pounds because it was like, this is a waste of our day. It'll take 3 hours to land it, and you probably won't get it in. And so, like, you fire out to one. I caught two actually, but one was like 120 pounds, and dude, it's wild how hard something can pull when you have 30-pound drag. I just couldn't move it for 25 minutes. So yeah, it's insane. I mean, just to think that a treble hook can hold a fish that hard.
Yeah.
Pulling,
How good was that
just
meat
wild.
though, dude?
Oh, it's insane. It's so fucking good. We've had everything. We've had sashimi, we've had poke bowls, we've had poke nachos. Now I even made some bluefin chowder that's actually in the fridge right now. I'm not letting my family touch it for like 3 days. I made it last night. It needs to freaking get that flavor for a couple days. That's exactly right.
Oh,
Damn. That sounds
wow.
Are you planning on doing more like trips like that and more exotic type things kind of for the channel in the off season, or just kind of a one-time deal?
I've always had the opportunity to do, like, I've had people tell me they'll pay for the trip to go down to like the Amazon and do that shit with peacock bass, and that sounds kind of fun, but I don't know. It was more just like the fishing, the bass tournament fishing thing got so toxic and so painful that Oliver Nye has always been a person that's just like so thoughtful and like progressive and cool and chill and just a different mindset that I knew, like, fuck, I just gotta get away from this shit. Like, I came home from fishing the Elite Series and I was like, not even enjoying myself for the first couple trips on some of these local lakes, catching big fish and still just like, this is not fun. Like, for whatever reason, I'm just like, I got to go change my mindset and enjoy myself and do something different. And that was perfect. That reset me big time.
That's awesome that you were able to document it though, and like you'll have that to look back on, because it sounds like a really badass trip. But do you have other, I don't know, like destinations or like fishing adventures that you like haven't done that you're like, oh dude, if I get one chance to do this, like I want to do it for sure?
No, I don't. At this point I don't, and I'm cool with that because different things will pop up. And dude, I'm literally crazy. I'm out of my mind. Like, I will, if I hear about something in Washington, I'll go there tomorrow, no problem. Like, I'm crazy. And so I realize that, and that's a privilege for sure. Like, it's especially fishing the Elite Series. Like, I understand, like, these guys are like sitting in tree stands right now, or going to sponsor shows, or they're guiding or doing something to make money. Like, I'm lucky that I get to go fish and make content. And so, like, not that I'm like waiting on people to tell me where the bite's good or anything like that. It's more so just like, if I hear about an adventure that sounds interesting to me, then I'll go. But I'm really bad at long-term planning and long-term goals. Like, I have zero fucking goals in my life. I never have. I just kind of fucking go.
Yeah.
I hope tomorrow's better than today.
I love
I
that.
like that though. I like that a lot. Dang.
Like, I literally have zero goals. I'm like,
I mean, you gotta have one.
Dude, I think my wife's
literally have zero goals.
The classic, I think my wife's happy and my kids are really fucking cute. Like, yeah, dude, my wife wants to get pregnant this next month, so I'm hoping we can,
Well, that's a goal. I mean,
yeah.
My biggest goal is to not get pregnant, but try really hard.
Happy days.
Yahtzee.
Oh, that's great.
Oh man. Is
So
Oliver?
you go ahead.
I don't know Oliver super well, but I got the opportunity to meet him a couple different times. Super chill dude, awesome dude. Is he doing mainly the saltwater stuff now? Like, is that what he's doing mainly?
Yeah, Oliver is. I mean, honestly, like, if I didn't know him, I never met him, I probably wouldn't fucking like him. I'd probably think he was a tryhard and a goober. But he's the man. Like, I really like that dude. Really thoughtful dude, and someone that could have taken the route maybe that I took, with multi-species stuff and with like trying the YouTube side of things instead of trying like to catch trophy fish and maybe just try harder on that than getting watchable content for the masses. But he didn't, and so I have a lot of respect for him. But yeah, Oliver is he just kind of goes with the flow with his career, and definitely the saltwater stuff is big for him right now.
Yeah.
And so, dude, that's so fucking cool to go out there. Like, it's Long Beach, California. You're launching in the biggest harbor in the world, and it's $5 to $100 million homes the entire way out, and you just fucking drive forever, listen to rap music because he's cool.
Dude,
and
he's always had an incredible taste in music. Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he's one of the coolest people in the fishing industry that isn't famous.
Yeah.
Like, he fucking had his own show with a rapper, like his own, and I think he cared too much about, catching good fish to put out good content, watchable content by the masses again. And it hurt him. But dude, like, he's had a cool life and cool career to be at the level of the small level of fame he is now. But dude, he's so thoughtful, and like a lot of what I've picked up with swim bait fishing, like, dude, I have a 1 pound swim bait here, and that would not be possible without some of the inspiration that I gained from him. Like, I have 10 swim bait rods with swim baits on them in front of me. Like, I went out fishing with him for 4 days, and I asked him questions for 90% of the time I was with him. So,
wow. And he's so unique where I feel like he's always made content or done his career to the beat of his own drum, and he's been him. He's had his own visions, or he always had like this, Cali vibe mixed with the rap music, mixed with big baits, mixed with his style, mixed with his persona, mixed with how he fished. He's been his own deal since the beginning, and I've always respected that for it, big time.
Yeah, I mean, when I looked at, there's like 4 videos out from the place we just went to, smallmouth fishing, and he was like 2 of them, and it was just like a stop that he made on the way home, and all it was like dash cam footage of him and his boys just like reeling in 4 fish, and it's just like he knows that he missed on like vlogging it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has to. But he was a fucking pioneer, man. Like,
big time.
He did this stuff. He might not have fucking documented it in a way that would get a lot of views, but he didn't care about that at that point. And man, I owe not like spots or areas or the type of content I put up, but I owe a lot to just his mindset of what he's brought forth. And honestly, like I said, like when I went out fishing with him, big bait fishing, I asked him so many questions, and he was just like, he was spent on California big bait fishing when I went out with him like 5 years ago. And he was like, dude, we don't stock trout anymore. Like, I'll fucking tell you whatever you want to know because it is fucking done. And it was pre-live scope. It was actually the first time I used live scope was with him, and we crappie fished with it at Berryessa. And it was like, oh my God, we couldn't find these. They were just like a, like we see now, there's a fucking school of 20 crappies swimming. They're going, doing that in a cove. And we're just like, doop, doop, doop. And they were all like 14 to 17 inch crappie. They were giant because there's giant crappie in California. It's ridiculous. And I was like, man, this is crazy. And then we'd go out in like a point and he'd fucking catch a 4-pounder on a jerk bait. And I was like, yeah, this is going to apply to bass fishing. definitely. This was
God.
the first time I ever used
Oh,
it.
man.
It was funny. I ordered it as I was with him to get home when I come home, and I came home and I put it on my boat, and it didn't work, of course, for my tournament that weekend. And we happened to win the tournament, but I didn't have it yet. But that was my first time. That was my first experience with live scope, was with Oliver crappie fishing, and I was just like, holy shit, I've seen this technology, and yeah, it's gonna play. Like, this is gonna be a thing for sure.
Huh.
Dang.
That's sick.
And it's so like, it doesn't matter where he goes in his career, what he does. Like, nobody ever knows the impact they made at a certain point in time. Like, I just remember being young and like Oliver's throwing big baits and it was sweet. And like me and my buddies were driving down fishing that Lake of the Ozarks Big Bass Bash when we were like freaking 18. Like, oh shit, we'll get in that. Fucking we win $500,000. Shit, why not? And do that. And then Oliver like got third one year. That was sweet. Throwing big baits. Next thing I know, I'm fishing with Cody Hahner and we're throwing mag drafts down in Chickamauga. This is like way before live scope. And we're like thinking cool as shit, like learning that different stuff. But I like all these different influences come back in your head of like, well, he throws big baits all the time. It's what he does. It's success. It may not be a feast or famine type game. You know what I mean? But like, there's different influences that can, I don't know, different things that people did in their careers that can influence people so much farther than they'll probably ever know. And that's just cool.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe influence and influencer. That's truly an influence to make you just change. Tactical Bassin was that way with me, with learning different actions of rods to throw big baits on and different places to throw them, because I mean, I had to take what they learned from California and apply it to fucking shithole man-made 200-acre lakes in Nebraska, and it worked.
Yeah.
But I had to make it my own. But yeah, man, talk about influence. It's crazy to think about way back then.
Yeah.
What we had the first couple of years of influence from social media that was actually legitimate. It's crazy.
Dang. Didn't he used to come out with DVDs? We're not going to go on a rabbit hole of Oliver, but didn't he come out with DVDs? Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking bought the DVD.
Damn.
That's crazy.
I remember, dude, my dad's a high school teacher and he's lazy as fuck. And my dad's just like the biggest like stoner fisherman ever. And he would like, he's like, I started to like 2 minutes of it once. He's like, I take this, I'll show it in class. I was like, show it in class? He's like, yeah, I can put it on. He put it on. He stole my Oliver Nye Big Bass Dreams DVD and he put it on in like study hall. He's like, I'll just put it on study hall. I think he just like showed it for like a whole semester and didn't teach it all.
Best teacher ever. No teacher ever did that.
Exactly. Oliver Nye is the creation of high school fishing.
Damn.
It all comes back.
That's awesome.
Dude, my dad, yeah. I want a high school teacher like that. I want to watch some damn Big Bass Dreams, fucking 22-minute conglomeration of 10-pounders in California back when there was good fishing.
You're sitting in 8th grade just like, what?
Yeah, this high school fishing stuff's fucking crazy. Like, all this youth fishing stuff's crazy. Like, I got to fish with the best fisherman in the world the other day, and it blew my mind a little bit. So I was excited about that, and I applied some of that today, and I will apply some of that in the future.
Who do you say is the best fisherman in the world right now, then?
There is no question in my mind who the best fisherman in the world is, and I got to fish with him the other day, and it was just because he wanted to fish with me. It was Trey McKinney.
All right.
Oh.
There is no.
What did you pick his brain on?
Well, this is stuff he doesn't want. These are Elite Series.
Oh, come on.
Still, if they're 2 hours and 43 minutes in, give them some juice.
They need a nugget.
Dude, I'm a lot of beers in. I shouldn't be talking to you guys right now. there was a lot of things that blew my fucking mind that a 19-year-old would know. That I've been fishing with scope since it was incepted, pretty much the year after. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you guys, but I'm just gonna say, like, he was throwing to fish with my rods and baits that he had never used before over my shoulder more accurately than I was throwing to them with baits that I have used on my rods, that I knew exactly what they do, and catching more fish than I was.
Wow.
And I think he had, I'll be honest, I think he had the best year that's ever been had on the Elite Series last year in the history of the Elite Series, minus one mistake that he made it was unfortunate, that had nothing to do with his fishing abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Like,
cool to hear you say.
He is that fucking dude. I knew he was incredible, and then I fished on the boat and he didn't even try, and he blew my fucking mind.
Wow.
Made me feel really fucking stupid, to be honest.
Hey,
Wow.
need that sometimes.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, that's great.
It inspired me, to be honest. Like, it was just like, yep, I'll probably never beat you in any tournament the rest of my life, but that's inspiring.
Yeah. Well, and that's where we go back to everything isn't known. There are secrets still.
Yeah.
Dude, it's hilarious. Like, he could pick up, I could be like, hey, this fucking bait sucks, but can we get some content on it? And he'd be like, this didn't actually happen, but he could pick up any bait in my boat. He could probably pick one up off the fucking deck right there and be like, cast out, and be like, all right, cool, that's what it looks like. And then next cast, he'd be fucking catch a big one. Like,
Wow.
any cast he wanted to make, he could catch a fish.
Are you equating that down to, like, he's almost a natural, or he just understands how fish react different ways to different baits, and he's picking up on baits that fast?
Yes, both.
Wow, that's dangerous.
However you want to think about it, yes.
Wow.
I like it.
There is no way that I will ever, like, I will beat him. I will finish higher than him in many tournaments in the future. But there is no way that I ever should, from what I saw.
Wow.
I'll just say that.
That's
scary. That's scary. That's scary.
And what is he, 19?
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, you can say he's cheating. You can say whatever the fuck you want. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I've seen what I've seen, and I mean, I've fished the same areas he's fished in tournaments before. Like, he's stayed in the same house those few times. Like, he's on another level. You guys had Easton on the podcast a couple times ago.
Yeah.
And he's a freak too, for sure. I'm gonna hopefully take some money from him this year, but probably not.
Please do.
But
some of it would be mine, just kind of transferred over.
Get a little bit back.
Get a little bit back from it, please.
I honestly think Trey this year had the best year of any Elite Series angler that's ever fished.
Yeah,
in history. It was unfortunate he almost won AOI, even with having a mistake that took him from a top 10 to a 93rd place finish.
Yeah,
wow.
If not a win. Like, he literally should have won like 3 opens last year, and he could have won like 2 or 3 elites this year.
Yeah.
And he's something else, man. And when I talk to Trey, I feel like everything I say to him that I know is true, when he responds to me, I'm like, I think he thought, like, that's not fucking true. And he's just like, yeah. And he's like, everything I say to him, I'm like,
he's living in your head. He's like already in your head. You're like,
He really is. It's like anything, and he's not like arrogant or anything. Like people think he's like, oh, fucking cocky little asshole, 19-year-old, whatever. He's not that way at all. He's so respectful and so genuine and like very conservative and he just like so conservative and laid back. But everything you say to him, he's just like, that's like, yeah, of course he knows that. And he's like, yeah. And it's like shit.
Like, don't you?
Yeah.
I was just checking to see if you knew that, and you're like, yeah, that plus I don't know if that's true, but okay, dude, whatever, fucking old guy. And I'm like, oh God. I don't even want to know. Yeah, he took like a all right, I'll share some juice. He would take a Nico rig on fish that I would usually throw a minnow at or not even think that I could catch, to be honest. And he'd throw to like a brush pile and he'd be like, he would throw, okay, first of all, he'd throw over my shoulder on my boat. You know, you guys know how hard it is to go on someone else's boat, use their equipment that you don't like or know, whatever. Everyone's shit's different, and be able to even catch anything. He'd glance at my screen and be like, hey, pan back right. I'd be like, and he'd be like, I think there was one there. And he'd be like, yeah. And I was like, what? And he'd be like, bloop. And he could catch one. Like, it didn't matter if it was a minnow, it was a shaky head, it was a Nico rig, whatever. He'd shake it over its head, and the fish would be, and then he'd drop it, and the fish would, and then he'd freaking swim a fucking worm back, and the fish would just come up and eat a fucking swimming worm and on a Nico. And I was like, what?
You're like, stop. He's from the future.
This is not real. And I'm sorry to nerd out for those of you guys that are like freaking Drago Lindy rig for walleye guys that watch your podcast, but it was just like because that's like, dude, that's cool too. Like I'm like equally as cool catching fish on a Lindy rig with a walleye on a leech. Like I'm fucking, that's great. But this blew my mind. This was something else, and this disturbed me a little bit. Not because like the live scope thing, like you should be able to catch fish on whatever technology you have. Mm-hmm. It was just like, holy shit,
different level of understanding.
Yeah.
Why does a 19-year-old know this? And it's not because like you played Call of Duty. Like that's not, you can't.
Yeah, no.
Like you can't. No. Like why did he come to? He's been to Texas for like 8 days of his life. Why did he know how to do that? Like that's, and because these fish act different than anywhere else in the country besides Florida. So I don't even.
Yeah.
I got nothing. Like he was just like throwing to, and you know, luckily I caught the biggest fish of the day because we had a little prototype bait that's awesome. It's so cool. I got one somewhere here. Check this bait out.
Show it, shout it out.
This bait's not released yet. It is going to be one of the biggest baits in the country when it's released. I'm not just saying that. It is so stupid looking. It is insane. Creature bait. Like big old flappy tails.
Put it on its side. Put it.
Yeah, it's big. It's got these big ass tails on it. I lost a freaking 10-pounder on it today that ate it, and it was coming right at me, and it come up and jumped and tossed it. But it's called the bodega, but it's got big natural flappy tails on it. Even up north, dude, it's gonna freaking slay.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Oh yeah, big time.
We got some crazy underwater footage of it. You stop it, and the tails are just like flowing in the freaking water, and it's ridiculous. But I throw it on a free rig, like a half ounce or an ounce free rig, and this fish eats it, and it's like one of those. I don't know if you guys have seen. I know you have. Smallies on like a boulder on a bed. They eat something, you don't feel it, and they go. They swim straight up in the air. That's what this fish did today, and I was like, "Oh, he's got it!" And I set the hook on it, and he comes right at me, and he just like throws it out, and it was like right by my face, and he was sitting on the top of the water. I was like, Hey, see you later. It is what it is. But
The bodega.
the bodega. Anyways, yeah, Trey's a freak. And I think he'll win at least 2 elites this year and maybe 5 to 8 elites every year after that. No, I'm just kidding. But
I'll probably
freak,
pick him in
man.
fantasy then.
I would pick Trey.
Yep.
Like, I think he'll finish outside the top 10 like 1 or 2 times this year.
I need that.
I love it.
Yeah, I need that.
There you go. There's your fantasy picks.
Trey. I love
Okay.
it.
Trey, Wesley Gore,
Yeah.
like John Garrett. I think Trey and John Garrett, 2 best fishermen in the world. Drew Gill, Jake Wheeler.
Yeah. Sobi, what else you got?
So, especially since you brought up the bodega and even fishing with Trey, between your YouTube career, your tournament fishing career, you've touched a lot of different parts of the industry. What trips your trigger the most right now? Is it competing your best in a tournament or figuring something out in a tournament or dialing in a tournament and it comes together? Or is it potentially bait design? Or is it potentially just catching hogs? Or is it potentially testing out a new bait and catching hogs and seeing a new bait come to life that you're like, we thought that would work and maybe it's going to work. Holy shit, it works. What like scratches the itch the most right now? What scratches the itch most right now in the off season and then maybe in season?
God, man, that is a good question. In season, of course, it's going to be finding something that no one else finds, which is insanely difficult. But honestly, like, you got to find – dude, the Elite Series is so fucking crazy. Like, you can't fathom how good these guys are. Like, if you fished as good as you could and found the juice, something that's different to win your local tournament, like, you could get, like, 31st in an Elite Series tournament. And that's great. That's a fucking awesome finish. That's why people are pissed off when that is now going to net them $700. That's what sucks. Anyways, I digress. Like, honestly, like I'm having a lot more fun this off season. Like, my heart is back in it. I needed some time. I feel a lot better. It's good now catching fish on stuff. It's good catching giant fish that I don't feel like anyone else is putting content out on. I don't watch any content, but I kind of pick around and see what's out there. But catching giant fish in spots where I know people aren't catching giant fish, and then creating phenomenal baits that are going to catch fish in ways that people have never fished before. That gets me excited.
Yeah,
That's kind of what
sure.
that's what I would gather, just seeing like your development of everything with Sixth Sense has been crazy. Like the amount that has exploded over the last,
big time.
I don't know, 3 or 4 years. It's been nuts.
Yeah, it's Sixth Sense has been fucking awesome, man. We've been killing it. And we really, like, I say we have like over 100 designs that are in queue. Like, we really have like all those designs coming. Like, it's crazy what's out there that we're going to tap into. And it's hard to wait back and film the content and not put the stuff out. But today, like, that bodega that's going to come out, I think in January, is not a bait that I designed personally, but it's a bait that I saw on Casey's desk, the main owner of Sixth Sense, like in February, March last year. And I was like, what is that? Because that looks fucking right to throw. And it's going to go like this in the water. And I'm going to whip it by one's face. And it's going to be confused and eat it. Dude, it looks like a giant crawdad freaking waiting like that. And I don't, dude, like the idea that a bait needs to be stand up on the bottom is a fucking myth. Like, crawdads don't stand up on the bottom. Like, it just does not matter. And that thing is money on the bottom, like on a free rig, like, dude, it's gonna be such a good bait. And we got a couple smaller sizes coming too. That's gonna be going a little finesse jig and stuff. Just a good bait, and I get excited about that stuff. Like I can't tell you like what's back there in the back of my garage is an entire tackle making station where I have like I literally started my tournament fishing career by funding it by selling jigs. Like I poured my own jigs, make my own skirts, sold them out the local tackle swap meets and stuff like that. And I'd sell them for $2.25 a piece. Fucking crazy to think back then. God, I could have sold them for like $7 a piece. But dude, it's crazy. And I was like, this is a steal. Selling for $2.25, $2.50 a piece. And it only cost me $1.10 or 90 cents to make them, whatever. This is great selling them for this much. That's hundreds of those things. But I dialed it in so much to get it right. And yeah, man, dude, I got freaking I make everything back there. Jigs. I got molds that I would do it that I've made modifications to make these strolling heads and stuff like that with bigger hooks, with different hooks, with freaking I make drop shot weights, and I pour some soft plastics. I got my own dice molds. I make all sorts of shit back there that I don't talk about. But man, it's the freaking juice. And yeah, it's cool. I didn't realize how, and we got chatterbaits. My buddy Brad makes chatterbaits. Zark's buddy, actually. Zark's. We call him.
Shout out ABA.
What up, Zark? We call him Bradderbaits. Dude, we always talk about we need to do a porn party. We keep talking about doing a porn party. But remember porn party videos? But dude, Brad's a fucking freak. He'll sand down a rod blank and rewrap it and stuff. And he'll put like 2 strands of purple in a weed guard by ripping some stuff out, putting stuff in there. Brad has ways. He fucking takes he has some type of I have a science major and I don't even understand how to do this. He takes leads and hooks it to a chatterbait blade and a battery, and he takes copper off of a copper pipe, and it goes through the liquid media, and it goes on. He takes just a silver blade, and it goes from copper onto the blade, and it's like a dull copper. They're called dude, it's fucking the deal. And they're Bradderbaits, dog. Here, let me fucking get some. Let me get my Bradderbait box up.
It's just some fucking Breaking Bad.
Exactly.
Brad is a goddamn mad scientist.
Brad's the man. Brad would rather spend thousands of hours making tackle than fishing. But Brad also
good to have those friends.
What catches fish. So that's the important thing. All right, here's my almighty chatterbait box.
Bradderbait box.
35 pounds. All right, here's some Bradderbaits straight out the package. I haven't even opened yet. Whoa, there went one.
Hold it close.
All right, so that's a small blade Bradderbait actually. There's a Bradderbait with like the dullest green pumpkin blade you've ever seen. And Brad freaking paints on the eyes, and he puts a keeper in there inside of the head, and puts a O'Shaughnessy bend hook in there that you can't get anywhere else, and he ties a keeper in there that you can't get anywhere else. Brad knows, dude, and this sumbitch
Brad knows.
Dude, Brad knows. This sumbitch hunts. It does everything you need to do. And it's got the dullest, look at that thing. You got the dullest freaking green pumpkinish, copperish, where you pull it off a damn copper pipe to create.
Straight out the pipe, dude.
That is straight out the pipe.
That's wild.
Make some damn green pumpkin blades, make some meth, whatever you need to make in that little Brad lab you need to. Iowa, United States.
The man. That's beautiful.
I
All
want
right.
to be on Brad right now.
It's a great thing. Everyone needs a Brad in their life.
All right, Sven. It's just so I can use this for a clickbait in the title. Are you fishing the Elite
no.
Series next year?
Well, I haven't announced that to anyone yet. So
You can announce
but
it on PTB.
I wouldn't
Number one
announce
outdoor podcast in the world.
Dave Mercer asked me this. Matt Pangrak asked me this. Pat Renwick asked me this, and I did not tell him. But I will tell you guys, yes, I'm fishing it next year.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
happy days. Happy days. If we can give Pangrak some shit, we gotta.
Exactly. I had to wait to someone that was fucking important to ask me.
Exactly. Number one
Thank you.
podcast in
That's
the
the
world.
nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Oh, that's freaking electric. Hell yeah.
No,
Hell
it's
yeah.
good. It's an interesting time in bass fishing, man. It's a huge time of change. Honestly, I don't love that we're fucking changing the parameters of it every single year.
Yeah.
When we switched to like we got to do 9 tournaments in the opens to qualify, I was like, okay, that's a big change, but it's a change that I think makes sense. So let's do it. And now it's just like fucking everything.
Yeah.
We're changing everything every single year. And it's like it's good to change for the better, but let's make sure we're gonna keep consistent, because we already have a sport that's almost impossible to follow from professional bass fishing. Like it's a terrible sport to follow if you're a fan. Like we have 9 tournaments a year, so we're already like, okay, well there's not very many, it's not very often. And then we're like, oh, well there's one in February, March twice. There's the championship from the previous years in March. So make sure you follow the biggest event in the sports from the previous year. Oh, okay. Well, then there's one in April. Great. Okay, I'll follow in April. Oh, there's nothing in all of April and then May after that. And then we're going to do a couple in June. Okay. Fuck. Up north? Okay. And then there's a couple in August and September. Okay. That's the sport of fishing. Like that's fucking crazy to me. That blows my mind. Like I cannot wrap my head around, like, I understand people want to fish in March and that's when you'll get the biggest audience, but how do you have your championship tournament after 2 tournaments of the year or at the start of the year? Like, I don't give a shit what NASCAR does. Like, we can't justify our sport by being like, oh, NASCAR does their championship at the start of the year, we'll do ours then too. Like, that's the dumbest shit ever. Like, I just can't wrap my head around it. It's so random. And we already have a hard enough time like getting people into our sport to be like, well, we'll make the most amount of money in the middle of March, so that's when we need to have our classic. Okay. Well, what if we make a little bit less money in July, but it makes more fucking sense that it's a championship at the end of the season? Like, dude, nothing makes sense in professional bass fishing. It's so random.
Yeah. It can
It
be
is
hard
random.
to follow at times.
What do you think about this, Cody or Pink?
I don't know. I think professional bass fishing it's like you said, it's extremely random right now. And I think they're just as confused on what they need to do because they're flailing as anyone. Like, I think they're just as confused and trying to get some traction when, obviously the other side isn't working very well. So they're supposed to be they're supposed to be the granddaddy of the sport, and they're not getting much traction, it seems like. And like, they're just trying to find something that works and improve the sport that seemed to peak back in the KVD Skeet Reese days. And now, they got traction. They got all these new guys. They're like, we got all these new guys, so we don't really need, there's always going to be people to fill the space, but at the end of the day, they need people in the seats to watch those people and non-endemic sponsors, and it seems like they're struggling to do that. I don't know.
I just feel like even like this scheduling aside from the whole thing, like even when we were in college and like we were following it like super close, like all the time, and like fishing and doing all that stuff too. It was always like, it always felt like, oh, next year this will get better. This will get better. Like the viewing of it will get better, and it's all, but it doesn't. It's like it's different, but it's never better. So I don't know how they fix that, or like what the trajectory is that makes it go from like what it is now to like leveling up. But it just doesn't seem like the changes that are being made are like creating a more viewer friendly or like more competitive atmosphere that's making it better for the people in it or the people watching it. So I don't know.
Do you guys think this is going to be a sport where it just peaked kind of during the ESPN era and stuff like that, and then it kind of goes like this? Or do you think it's like an ebb and flow deal where like there was a big peak during the ESPN era, it's kind of trying to figure itself out now, boom, it's going to hit another peak, then it'll figure itself out, boom, it's going to hit another peak?
I feel like it's going to be just status quo and stale until they get like an influx of like non-endemic sponsorships that again makes it blow up. Yeah.
Well, and I think
like the FLW and like those days were insane from what guys are saying. Like when you're having the U.S. government back, a professional fishing league, like what? Yeah. And I mean, now it's not like
that. I think too, something that Ben kind of touched on earlier, but it's a part with the wanting to get non-endemic sponsors. I think a big thing if we're going to lead to it getting more views and being bigger and going back to those KVD days or earlier days, is I think a big problem in the industry right now is just the negativity that surrounds everything and the drama level. There's other sports where they have talk shows and stuff about stuff and create certain things, but there's just not an overwhelming, it feels like there's an umbrella over the sport right now of negativity rather than positivity. And when that can get flipped, that is when a non-endemic would want to show up and be there. Because as much as I hate to say it right now, say there's a Mountain Dew or whoever looking at it going, I want to get involved. They're like, why would I want to get in here where it's just constant bickering and drama and no one sees happy or supports each other? Like, the biggest thing is having a bunch of guys support each other. Like, in my opinion, like looking back on when the split happened, like the group that was there, say with Bass, there was like a couple years of like, oh, this feels good and everything's going great. And now it just feels like we're kind of back to the negativity and drama and stuff all the time. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Ben, but that's kind of what I feel like we're really missing right now.
It's kind of a weird, it's a weird time for sure. This was a weird rookie season with a lot of bullshit that happened social media wise. But I think the things that happened social media wise with all these fucking pages coming up out of nowhere that we're just trying to capitalize on the clicks of social media and not, help the sport in any way. I think that's going to be behind us soon. And I think we're hopefully to the point as anglers where we're going to get to the point where we can focus on making the sport better for the first time ever. I don't think we've ever been focused on that. I think like back, even in the glory days, like, dude, people are talking about like the early 2000s. Like these guys with Mercury deals were getting like 5 engines a year with their deal. That's fucking crazy. Like, I don't even know. Like, and the crazy thing was like, I don't even know if I'd want that. Like, I don't think I could sell like more than 2 engines. And I feel like I can sell shit pretty good. Like, I can even sell my boat. But
yeah. Oh,
you there?
Yeah.
Now you're back.
Network connection lost, it said. But yeah, I think we're getting to the point where it's weird with pro fishing to where we feel like we're so like Elite Series, whatever, we've been around 20 years, like we have some continuity, and then it's all of a sudden like, oh, everything's changing immediately. And so it's weird that things are changing so quickly, but it's good at the same time. Like, it's good that we did the no entry fee thing. I think that's a great step in the right direction. It might not have on year one made sense on paper, for a lot of guys that, especially the guys that finish like decent, like 10th to 50th in angler of the year points, it didn't make any sense. But I think as we move forward, like this is all these changes that have happened in the last 3 months are going to force some change that has been necessary for a very, very long time. And it's too bad that it's taken this long to change it. And it's crazy to me as someone that entered as a rookie last year that we're literally entering under the same rules, the same payouts, the same entry fees, and everything as we did 20 years ago when things were just fucking blowing up and guys were getting these crazy contract deals. It's crazy to me that things haven't improved or gotten worse or anything. It's just kind of strange, to be honest. The only thing that's changed is social media has made it really worse. Like with my situation where fucking people clipped a spot of what they thought was me cheating when I wasn't with my own camera guy's clips. That was weird. And then people like blowing stuff up with rule violations that they didn't even understand and acting like guys were trying to fucking cheat when it was like, oh, that we didn't know we were supposed to, it was a no wake zone and we ran 20 through it. Like it's crazy that the certain people at social media have gotten a voice in these situations when they don't deserve a voice, to be honest, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with that. I mean, there's a handful of pages that I just straight up blocked so that I don't have to see them when they get shared and stuff at times because it got so absolutely exhausting. I was like, I don't care about this. Just I want to see what's going on at the tournament, who's winning and who's having fun. And like, I love seeing the stuff like, for example, on the positive side of things, I love seeing the stuff that like Carl is doing with like the Fear My Heart stuff and everything, and him giving out, like he's giving out his like own incentive almost at tournaments, isn't he now? With the Fear
definitely.
My Heart and stuff. Yep. Like I think that's so cool that like he took that upon himself to like go do that and to create a positive change to help out.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, there's so many positive things in fishing that people don't really tap into or think about because it doesn't sell. It doesn't get views. It doesn't get clicks. And that's too bad.
Agreed.
What does somebody like Casey think about the industry, pro fishing, the industry as a whole, just from his perspective? Because he's seen a lot of progression and his company's progressed a lot. Like, what does
even
Casey think
I
about
guess, yeah, I would even say with you because you're equally, or maybe not equally, but you're invested in that same level, I'd imagine.
Well, I think Casey Casey was a national champion, college fisherman. One of the first years college was available. And it's funny, when he was in college and he won the national championship is when he got on, I can't remember what the program was on ESPN, but he got the opportunity with him and his partner to airbrush fishing lures. That was like the television thing that they added into ESPN so we could like, they could like give him an airbrushing kit. He could like learn how to airbrush. And that is the foundation of Sixth Senses, was him winning the national championship and being like, okay. And it was like, he told me, it was like between him and his partner, he's like, do you want the airbrush kit? And the guy was like, I don't know. You seem like you're better at it, so fucking take it. And he's like, okay. And so he starts airbrushing, and then that turns into like him airbrushing crankbait and jerkbait blanks in his dorm room, and a way for him to start like get through college. And then he's like, shit, there's something to this, like custom painted baits. And then he starts to work on that, and he's like, well, what if we could take a custom painted airbrush company and turn that into a custom painted style bait at a production mold? And that's how Sixth Sense was started. But you know, Casey's very progressive. Casey's 10 times smarter than I ever could be, but he likes to challenge me with questions like, so So Bassmaster decided to. I was out to dinner with him the other night, and he says, "So, how much is so since Bass isn't you don't have to pay entry fees? Like how much do they pay you for their sponsors that are sponsoring Bassmaster as an Elite Series Pro?" And I was like, $0. He's like, "Huh, okay." And I was like, "Shit. Well, that's enough for him to say like that's a good point."
Mm-hmm.
Bassmaster gets these sponsors from non-endemics or endemics, and we literally like it stops there. Like it seems like it's a like I'm not saying bad things about Bassmaster because I love BASS. I love all the companies that want to sponsor professional fishing at the highest level and every other level. But their sponsor it just seems like it's very shallow when a electronics company or a boat company sponsors the organization, but then it's just like, well, we don't give a fuck about the angler. And it's like the angler is who's promoting the product. Like other than that, you're just running a commercial on what? ESPN on or not ESPN, but FS1 on your live. Like
Yeah.
that's literally all it is, or doing a banner ad on bassmaster.com. Like is there like any connection between like, hey, if you guys run a nitro boat, we'll give you 50% off or 20% off or $1,000 off anything? And there's not, and that's strange to me with as tight knit as the market is and as small as the market is.
Well, you would think they would even like want to incentivize that, because then it's like they could incentivize to like, okay, we'll give Ben, if Nitro Boats is sponsoring the Elite Series next year, we would think like, let's give him a discount so he gets a Nitro boat. We can give him more screen time. We can play more ad space, whatever. Like you think it would all be incentivized. You think it would all kind of work together in a wheel, but it really doesn't. And that's what's weird.
Of course. It seems, and that's what, like, when we talk about, hey, they make this much money, why don't they give us this much money? That's what is a weird dynamic in the sport. Like it seems like everything is like short-sighted, like, hey, we give it this much money to do this many views and ads and do this. And it's not like Toyota's done a great job with long-term sponsorship, sort of non-endemic. I don't know. I mean, people call it non-endemic, but it's not really non-endemic if fucking people are driving Toyotas to pull their boats. But at the same time, like, I don't know. It's weird to see where that money is directed from Toyota. I'll just say that.
But the incentives are there, right? Like the contingencies are there if you run a Toyota, right?
No.
Not at all?
No. I don't get anything if I run a Toyota.
I thought there was. I don't
even get a discount if I know the guys at Dynamic Sponsorships who run Toyota. That's who got me my first ever Carhartt deal, which was, hey, we don't have any money for you, but we'll send you some fucking stuff we can't sell. Here's some XXL Carhartt pants. And I was like, deal. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Like literally like 8 years ago, before I even quit my job. But no, there is not that. Like, dude, you guys would be fucking mind blown if you knew. Like, if I called, look, I'm trying to think of who even the sponsors are of the Elite Series, but if I called one of them or called Bass and contacted them, they would be like, yeah, I don't know. We sponsored the series. I don't know. We can't help you. It'd be like a 10% discount type thing. Like there's nothing that is linear with any of that, which is crazy.
Yeah, you would think that would be more linked.
Yeah, how does Lowrance or Garmin or Ranger Boats or fucking whoever not be like, we're a sponsor of the Elite Series. You can run our boat which is free promotion for us. You can run 17 Garmin screens, which is free promotion for us. No, they don't give a shit. That's how rinky dink our top level is, unfortunately.
I've used that same term many times.
Yeah.
Because the problem is that they'll always, especially now with that huge changeover, it seems like now they have even more power because they realize they can replace you. They feel like they can replace you, and it doesn't matter. Ultimately, it doesn't matter to them. They're like, well, we did it once before. They're going to come back. The opens are packed. People want to come here. So, like, they're going to find someone to step in line and fish the events. Like, otherwise,
Maybe.
there's going to be someone coming back.
Maybe. I think that's like, that makes sense to me, what you're saying, but at the same time, I also feel like it's like, fuck it. I don't know. These are the top guys that are sport. Like, I guess we'll throw some money at them. It doesn't really matter. Whatever.
You would think, and I'm in total agreement with you. I think it's complete bullshit because I've seen it. But stepping back and looking at it, that's how I see it. That's just how I'm looking at it through a different lens these days. I'm like, man, it's hard. It's hard with what they have if they truly cared about the anglers to not keep changing rules, changing this, changing that, if they cared about the people that they had. Like, that's why a lot of those guys left from the get-go, because they were promised that big, all this grandeur, but I mean, it ended up being, whatever it ended up being. And it feels like now they have this whole line of new guys, and it worked out great. Their viewership's better than MLF, so we ultimately won. What's a big deal? We can treat them like shit. Like that's I don't know. I don't agree with it. I think the best in the world should be treated like the best in the world, but it just hasn't been that. It just hasn't been that, and it blows my mind that they like. I don't know. There should be that luxury standpoint of you've made it to this level. There should be that end goal. Like, I've made it to that level.
And you would think, just like, if I own the organization in general, I just feel like all organizations are only like as big and as popping as their stars. And like, if you need to pump promotion, and you need to pump everything into your stars to build them up, because that's what people are going to assimilate to, right? Like, they're not going to be like, I just love the organization. They're going to love, this fisherman or that. And they don't remember, like, you remember when Bassmaster partnered with Geico that one year? They're like, no, they remember when they yelled, never give up. They remember when Ike yelled that in 2003. Like, those are the moments you want to pump, and then you pump that angler. And I would think there'd be so much more collusion behind the scenes with the anglers and the organization to be like, let's be the best we can be, build up you guys. It'll build up us in return. And I think it'd be big time that way. And
it's still like, I mean, it's still deep down like a dream of mine. I mean, it's a dream of a lot of people, but it's like stepping back and looking back into it. I'm like, we should have moved, like Ben, like what you're saying, we should have moved the needle. Like, we should be progressing onwards. And I'm like, damn, it's still like it's something that people are always going to aspire to, because the Elite Series is not a joke. It is like the hardest possible thing. If you were to put as much effort, if guys were to put as much effort into making the Elite Series into any other business, they'd be millionaires. It is so freaking hard. Those guys are absolutely the best in the world, and they will embarrass people. But like, damn, like, come on. Like, it's like, get moving.
In the same token, like, nothing happens overnight too. So like, maybe like Ben said, like, maybe the no entry fees and stuff, it's just a stepping stone to hopefully one day be something different.
I hope so, because I love the sport, and I really do hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, honestly, like I'll be straightforward, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I feel like the no entry fees was just like something for clicks, and it was something to garner interest and just think that they were better or different than anything else in the sport, more so than it was to actually change it.
Yes.
That's how I felt once I saw the payouts and everything. Like it literally was just like a shift of money from one thing to the other.
Yes. Yeah.
Adam, are you alive? Are you
Yeah.
there? Or is
Yeah.
that
Adam,
just
are you
like,
there? What do you think
I'm
about this?
listening.
Is that a
No,
hologram?
I
Is that a
think
hologram of you?
I'm surprised. I guess I'm surprised with the no entries. Like with going to it, I would have guessed that I guess the smarter play would have been going to you guys and being like, hey, we want to do no entries in the next 3 years. So this year this is what we're putting into the payout. You guys are only going to pay $3,000 an event this year. And this is how they're going to look. And then the payouts would have looked spectacular. And they would have been like, okay, as we move through this is how we're going to go through this process and get to this. And also telling people that of like, you and I talked about this the other day, Ben, but when you do that and tell people those things, tell them, hey, like get your sponsorships in line and get everything set up, because you're not going to have to be, paying these entry fees in a while, and you will be able to garner more sponsorship money for yourself that you don't have to put into entries. So you're going to be doing better immediately, say 3 years down the line, and then work down the line that way. Because that is one thing where, like you and I talked about, I feel like it has got lost in translation a little bit with some of the Excel sheets that have been posted and stuff. Is if you are one of the, I would say, average Elite Series pros making sponsored money on the low end, what sponsored dollars low end would be 30,000 to 35,000. I would even say probably 45 paying entry fees. Wouldn't you say, Ben? For 60 to 70% of them, 70 ish.
Yeah, maybe
somewhere around there. So like,
yep.
Taking that away, that entry fee away, that there is that base that you are not losing right away. You have that. So yes, the payouts look terrible. I think the worst PR thing they did was have the 25 through 40 written there. That should have never seen the light of day. But that, I guess that's kind of what I thought. I just think with them making this move, there's got to be a 3 to 5 year plan. And
yeah, no, I
that
totally
would be
agree.
my assumption.
Yeah, there's no right answer for it. It's different for everyone that's on the elites, and it's hard to talk about when you're. I mean, it's literally different for everyone. So it's shitty. I was talking to Livesey about this, and he's my good buddy, and we bullshit back and forth about everything that happens with these changes. But I was like, dude, can you imagine if we kept the payout that Bass had, and we also threw in the exact same amount of entry fees that we would have paid before, $5,000 per event on top of that, and then we paid out like $150,000 for first, and then every place taper down 40th to 50th after that. Like it'd be fucking crazy.
It would have been
awesome.
unreal.
And he's like, dude, what if we did 10,000? And I was like, a deal. Let's do it. And it's like, dude, you're right. Like, if we're going to gamble on ourselves, what are we talking about? But at the same time, like, you wouldn't believe how many guys at the top, I'm just going to say, like, top level here that don't want to be any part of that. They want to just be like, whoa. I'm going to collect my checks. I'm going to get my sponsor money. I don't want to fuck with anything you guys are talking about with like going against the organization. I want to make $10,000 to $40,000 a year with my winnings and on top of my expenses. And I'll support my family with some bullshit sponsor stuff and hope that we come out on top. And they're like, I want to be no part of this fucking talking about making more money or doing this on the other side or anything. Dang. And you think that'd be like 2 or 3 guys, but unfortunately that's like 50 to 60 guys. You'd be
Yeah.
surprised. So
Yeah.
Whereas you could have a bunch of guys and being like, let's try to make this better.
let's
all
push
work
it.
together
Let's fucking
and push
work.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
No.
these guys want to work 9 weeks out of 52 weeks a year.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're comfortable. They made it. They're like in their little glass bubble. They made it.
yeah.
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 Well,
For
they're going to
sure.
make it for about a year and a half more, and
Yeah.
they're going to be miserable after that. It's
Yeah.
just like, it's. I mean, it's hard to make money in this sport, but it's not hard to make money in this sport. Like, you have to work like anything else, and if we all work together, we can make this happen faster and faster. But it's to the point where it's like, why do half the guys or a quarter of the guys have to work so fucking hard to make it better for the whole group when all the guys are just like, whatever, go with the flow, see what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
So it'll be an interesting. Really, it's going to be. I mean, from the outside looking in, it's going to be a crazy, interesting couple years of the Elite Series. And hey, here's what's really interesting to me. Even though all these changes are happening, we got Alec Morrison and Jaden Parrish are 2 of the 5 guys that qualified from the invitationals for the Bass Pro Tour. Neither of them are fishing the Bass Pro Tour next year. Even though they qualified, they're fishing the Opens next year. So,
Really?
That's
Really?
incredible.
Really?
Yeah, we got some interesting stuff happening with the Opens next year, and once again, unfortunately, we have a crazy class of 10 guys
Alec
or
is
9 guys.
terrifying. He is so good.
Hammers.
Yep, for
I
sure.
fished next to Alec on Kentucky. I was terrified. I was like, look at this Sims Pro. He's just catching them so much faster than I am. I'm going to leave this flat and go be by myself and not worry about fishing next to Alec Morrison. And then you come into weigh-in and he's so nice. You're like, God, I hate this.
You're so nice. Let me hate you.
Oh, Alec is great. That's sweet. That's cool to hear. I guess, I mean, we've been going 3.5 hours. Sobi, you got anything else? Ben, I'm surprised you stayed on with us this long. Are we this entertaining?
Well, I don't got to get up for a couple hours here.
Yeah,
Whatever you guys
perfect.
think. Yeah.
He's like, I literally have nothing else going on. So
my wife fell asleep like 3 hours ago, so I'm whatever. I'm waking up in the morning and we're driving 3 hours to the lake and we're gonna rip some.
I love it.
Unless Cody or Ryan have something to put in here, we can't thank you enough. Thank you. We talked everything from social media.
You got anything you want to ask us?
Yeah. No, we are really the number 1 outdoor podcast in the world.
Number 1 in the world. I love it. I'm trying to think of any questions I got to ask you guys. I should fuck you guys pretty good, but I'm not.
You can do whatever you want.
Oh man, where can we go with this? No, I'm good. Well,
Oh, he was gonna put Sobi in a pickle.
Yeah, I'll battle rap.
Sobi, you got anything that did you find any of those fish up in Alaska or anywhere else that you fish with another member that you filmed for?
Did I find any of them?
And that's where it ends.
Oh,
Did he
Cliffhanger.
pause? Did he pause?
Did his phone die? His phone might have
Oh, boy.
died. Oh, nope. Is he back?
Was he back?
No, his phone
hard
might
no,
have
hard no.
died.
Unreal.
What
Well,
a
that's
great
how we way to end
screen.
it.
If this is
What a
where we
great
leave
screen.
off, thank you. A huge thank you to Ben Milliken for coming on here for 3.5 hours. PTB, we run long podcasts. We also only record every other week, but we bring the heat, we bring the guests, and they're long interviews, and it's everything from, like we talked about tonight, social media, tournament bass fishing, geeking out on lures, lure designing, social media, the intricate works of rap and how he knows musical artists and how that's mixed with his fishing career. And and of course all the boys. Thank you, Ben,
Yeah.
and thank you to the boys. This is been an incredible interview, and thank you to all the listeners that have made it this long.
Yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hang around. We'll be keeping it real from here on out, just chatting with each other and having fun. So thank you for listening to another episode of Pass a Barb. The next one will be exclusively hunting for all you folks.